Well, hello, fight fans. This is your old buddy John Minky. James Benton here with MMA Sucks. Of course, as always, my co-host, Johnny Irish, Dan O'Connor, local pro fighter, getting ready to drop to 115, and we have a couple of staples of the St. Louis MMA scene. We have the owner of the War Room out of Wood River, Illinois, Brad Jones, and strength conditioning coach and fighter himself, Ben Dona. Well, hello, everybody. Are we on? Hello.
What up? How's everybody doing?
Good
Fantastic.
deal. All right, guys. So what we want to do tonight in some of the old school guys. See, when most of you kids out there were still playing Super Nintendo, or I guess you say Nintendo 64 and all that kind of shit, Brad was in the ring fighting already. He's fought all over the country, in the St. Louis area, and all the way up into some of the old school extreme challenges out of Iowa, and some pretty brutal fights. So we're gonna hopefully get some stories and some maybe some new information for some of you young kids that haven't heard yet. First, we're going to go ahead and talk about the Warrior Weekend this week or this last weekend that Kevin Hahn and Hahn's MMA did down in Festus, Missouri. Dan, did you have a chance to get down there and watch it?
Yes, I did. I actually went down to corner Tony Souders, who was the main event of that fight, and it was there was a lot of fights on there that were good. I know the night before was a clusterfuck. A lot of guys no-showed, didn't come in on weight, all sorts of fun stuff, and the main event didn't show as well. So it was as good a fights as we had on there. There was quite a few clusterfucks on it.
So yeah, the main event was supposed to be Tony Sauter's debut versus Ray Clayton, a guy who has many amateur fights and who's already fought pro 5 or 6 times. And Ray showed up for weigh-ins and then didn't show up for the fight. I don't know. I'm sure Brad has seen that a million times. Coming up during the late '90s and early 2000s, fighting. Guys not showing and not making weight and all those kind of things. Uh, hey guys, anytime you want to jump in and interject, just go ahead. So what ended up happening is down to 45 for the first time and fighting Shane Moffitt. Malcolm Smith at 0-2 as a pro. Fought two very, very solid 155ers and a very large one in Hugh Pulley in his second fight. Got KO'd in both of those fights. Apparently came in and had a great fight with Shane Moffitt, so that made up for I guess the lack of the main event. They ended up getting their co-main event. Ended up and making up for Ray not showing up.
It was that was a fantastic fight too. Shane looked a little off after the first round, but he comes out, lands this beautiful head kick, the whole crowd erupted from it, landed right on the chin, dropped him, and went nuts to try and finish him. And he just he didn't look his usual. He didn't look like Shane Moffitt that we know and love. He did a lot of ground, ate a lot of kicks, didn't check them. And I think that's what won the fight was he started getting leg kicked and dropped from leg kicks in the second round. And he definitely won the first. I thought the third could have went either way. It should have been a split decision. It could have went either way in the fight, but I do think it probably went the right way from the second round, how dominant he was and getting leg kicked and just dropped. So,
well, did Shane drop Malcolm in the first round?
It felt first round right off the bat, comes out, throws a couple combinations, just right to the head, dropped him cold. I mean, it looked bad. Malcolm's a tough guy. He came back from that. I don't know a lot of people that would have, because it was shin to chin.
Yeah, he gets he starts out too slow. He's gotten flashed a couple of times right out of the gate. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's I don't know how long into his fight with Shelby Graham when he got knocked out, but against Chad Williams, it went really fast. Against Vince Ezel, it went fast. it went fast too. So I mean, it's one of those things you don't want to see a young fighter fighting too far out of his natural weight class. I know it's hard to get down to 45, but it's one of those things he's going to have to do because he's fighting way too big of opponents, and you can't have your fighter out there getting knocked out like that. You only got so many of those in a career, and you don't want a talented kid to to have his career really ruined and shortened just because he can't take the punches anymore. We see that time and time again. We've seen it with the Chuck Liddells. We've seen it with well, really pretty much every fighter that stays in the game a little bit too long.
Yep, chins are one of those things.
Have an amateur.
What's up?
Definitely don't want to see it out of an amateur before they really get a chance to shine.
Yeah, that happened with Malcolm got knocked completely limp twice as an amateur, and then turned around his first 2 pro fights. The same thing happened. So it's good to see him get in the win column. I'm kind of sad it happened against Shane. Shane's one of my friends, but it was a good fight, and great to see those guys get that experience and get on to the next level. Were there anything interesting things happen on the show, or is it just pretty much
we had one of our girls, Hannah McNitt, fight. She's did what she does every time, runs out, throws a nice combination, takes the girl down, gets a mount, and she's collegiate wrestler, such a good wrestling base. Nobody can move her, and if you don't know how to escape mount, you shouldn't be doing MMA. And as good a base as she has, the girl didn't really seem like she was trying too hard. She was trying to throw the legs up and around, which is a very basic move to try and get out. She wasn't bumping really, and Hannah just kind of kept punching her until the fight was over. Gary Becker fought, and that was a pretty one-sided fight. He went up a weight class, wasn't training. Got his ass kicked pretty much. Took a lot of shots. Must have got elbowed 70 times in that fight. I mean, he looked like the Elephant Man afterwards. Face swollen up. They had to call I made them get a doctor for him because he looked pretty bad, and he's diabetic too. Only thing he did in that fight that was really well is he almost landed an armbar out of nowhere. Lance's name, I think, came running in.
Lance DeClue.
Yeah, Lance DeClue came running in to try and finish him as he should have, and stuck his arm out there and almost got armbarred, but
almost got cut.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird that Lance went pro so quickly. He's only got 3 amateur fights, if I'm not mistaken. And I know that it was funny because I read a little bit on his quote. It was like, hey, I just wanted to show people that I wasn't just a jits guy. And I'm like, listen, man, you've won Naga twice and you're a fucking white belt. Nobody in the real grappling community thinks you're just a jits guy. The fact that you called it jits makes me think that you're not that experienced at it,
Yeah, he was. He had to get.
You're still not to shit on him too much, but he's trust me, he's still young enough to develop other skill sets. Yeah, mad jits, right? Yeah, okay.
He had to get a doctor looking at him too. It was kind of interesting to see. I mean, he did it from fatigue because he didn't really get hit or anything.
Well, that's
happened.
that lack of experience,
Yeah,
that's
he
the
was
lack
over
of
there.
experience. But again, he's a young fighter, so there's no reason why he can't develop his ground and pound and his boxing skills and not have that jiu-jitsu so ingrained him that's what he's falling back on every time. I mean, that's a good thing too. You don't want fighters, and something I stress with my kids too is that I don't want them to sit there and become too dominant in one thing where you're constantly looking for the way MMA is set up right now anyway, it benefits a good striker. So that's what we're going to really, we really want you to be out there striking. We want your reaction to be, if somebody comes at you, is to punch them in the face and not sit there and try to drop to your ass or immediately shoot it.
Yeah,
we don't. Yeah,
and he did. He landed a beautiful right straight, I believe, and dropped Gary in the fight. But other than that, there wasn't a lot of stand up going on. It was pretty one sided. He's a very nice kid, very 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 respectful. But Gary did not train at all for that fight. I talked to him afterward. He looked soft. He was going up a weight class. Gary's a lot smaller than me. Gary could go to 15, and he was fighting at 35. And I kind of implored him to. I was like, don't screw around in this fight because you're gonna get fucked up by somebody that's 10 pounds heavier than you at pro. This is an amateur anymore, man. So,
he doesn't even have a team anymore, does he?
It's all part of getting more experience in the sport, and everybody makes mistakes like that. It's all how do you learn from it?
Yes, sir. And sometimes you gotta learn the hard way.
Absolutely. We all do.
Yep.
Part of being a fighter.
I think a lot of the times, and John can probably attest to it, a lot of the guys that may have been through some of those battles, when they're talking to some of these younger guys, we're not all too far removed from being younger guys ourselves, and remembering what the fuck do these guys know? You get a kid every once in a while that really adheres to what you're trying to say, but for the most part, you don't want to take really advice from older guys, and then these kids got to go through the hard.
Take your lumps.
Mm-hmm. And I do think Gary Becker is going to learn from it. And me and him talked about him dropping a weight class and coming back and fighting. It's not a one and done thing for him. So
is he going to get back over to burgers and start
hopefully once he gets that all situated? I talked to him a little bit, and he said he wants to make it right and come over to burgers and pay his dues and all that fun stuff. So and then he'll get to spar me a lot and see what weight class he should be in, because I am not a 35er, and I'm going to be able to hit, and I actually am kind of a jits guy, so not as good as Lance.
All the young guys in the sport have to realize this is the biggest team sport that no one knows about. You get in the cage on your own, but you have to have a team behind you, so you have to get with a good gym and get a good training partner. You're only as good as your sparring partners.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And you can't train in a garage all the time and then go pro. I mean, the bags don't hit back.
That's right.
Yeah, so speaking of your jiu-jitsu skills, your jits skills, oh God, it's repugnant for me to say that. I just anyway, your jiu-jitsu skill. Let's get into your fight. It's coming up. You're getting ready to fight Ken Porter. Ken Porter was going to fight Josh Epps, but it looks like he another situation like Ray Clayton. He showed up for the weigh-ins and didn't show up for the fight, which is ridiculous for a pro fighter. I don't understand.
No, he didn't show up for weigh-ins.
Oh, he no-showed everything.
An hour before weigh-ins, he no-showed.
Oh, wow.
So he called and said he can't make it. He said a couple of things. I've heard different stories, and I don't want to. I heard he said he lost the will to fight anymore, and then I heard he was sick and not feeling good. So I don't know which story to listen to. But I was also told by his coach that the fight with me and him in November was not going to happen because he's done. So it was actually a weird thing, because I wasn't sparring with Porter, but I was kind of helping him get ready for Epps, giving him stuff to look for. And then he was going to come over after the Epps fight and help me get ready for Epps. And now me and him are fighting in November. I'm friends with Porter, so it's going to be an interesting fight. On paper, he's faster. He's younger. He's got better boxing. He's got more fights. So I'm hoping to take it in later rounds and win by a very close split decision. One judge just likes me a little more and gives it to me is what I'm looking for.
Well, you can always pay the judges. That always seems
to. I gotta look into that. So no, he knows me well enough that he knows where the fight's gonna go. And my grandpa is a pro wrestler back in the day, and he used to say, "You take a striker. If I could place my hand on him, the fight's over." And I do think I'm not past jumping guard too. So he's got to look for some stuff. His wrestling coach asked for this fight before when he was training at my gym. So after he asked for the me versus Porter fight, Marigatani did. I kind of half-assed everything around him, so he didn't know what I could do and what I was capable of, and my go-to moves I never did around him, because it was kind of a weird thing where he was asking me to fight one of his fighters that he trained at Merrimack and everything. So I'm paranoid by nature, so I half-assed everything, which in hindsight was a very good idea, it looks like. So.
Well, I like that. The fight. I mean, I think it's a good fight. I think Ken likes to. I mean, if he's smart, he's obviously going to use counter wrestling, try to keep it on his feet. But if it does end up on the ground, it's like, okay, we know enough on the ground where we can shut it down and things like that. But the problem is when he gets caught in submissions, he tries to athlete out of submissions, and that's not a great idea for guys who, especially in these lower weight classes. I mean, you get away with a little bit in some of the heavier weight classes, but some of the littler guys have the ability to hang on to an armbar and spin into various submissions very, very quickly. And if you try to muscle out of them, you're going to end up getting tapped. So it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good fight.
It's going to be interesting for sure. One thing, I mean, I do unorthodox stuff, and I'm pretty hard to train for in that. I mean, he does have a great jiu-jitsu coach and Ezra behind him, but I'm not going to grab an armbar and not
spending time training with Ezra, seriously.
He might for
You
this
know,
one.
I mean, dude, Jesus Christ.
I mean,
Well,
I'm
he
not fighting
should if
0
he's
and 5
smart.
guys, so he's I fought actually guys that have had a lot of fights with wins, and it's going to be interesting. He fought in his pro debut, he fought 0 and 5 guys, and then he rematched him and won, which takes a lot.
Well, he lost to an 0 and
yeah.
5 guy. He got
He
caught
lost to
in
an
a
0 5 guy, and then he fought a guy that I'm not sure the next guy's record, but then he fought the 0 5 guy 2 more times. The guy was like 1 5 at that point, and then 1 6, and then now 1 7 after him. So, I mean, I fought guys that have 30 fights and stuff like that. So, I mean, he does have a lot of fights, but we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a fun one. I like Kenny, and it's not gonna be a lot of shit talking, but it's gonna be an interesting one. It's gonna be horsepower versus like a nosed out Acura because he's real fast, and I'm gonna have to use my old man strength, I guess.
Powered by Guinness.
Miller Lite tonight. Thank you very much. I got a week left.
Miller Lite.
So,
yeah. All right. Well, we had a recent UFC. Is anybody surprised that Chael choked out Shogun in the first round?
Surprised? I don't know. Surprised? I don't buy into the internet chitter chatter that Chael's a one-trick pony.
You don't stick around that long being a one-trick pony.
No. I think that the Chael that you see in interviews and giving you the great sound bites and everything is one part of the mix, but he's got outstanding boxing coaches. He's got a decent striking game, and I think he's lived and learned by the sword. I mean, he was choked out by Forrest. He's been choked out by Babalu. The list goes on, and I think that the guy's actually learned from his mistakes.
He gets better and better,
and I think he's getting better. I think he.
Oh, and it's something they mentioned the psychological issues that he was having that plagued him through his entire wrestling career, and it really seems like he's got those under control, and he's having fun out there, and he's smart. He's making those guys a lot of money. I know the Brazilians can't stand him, but guess what? Then they tune in, and he's making everybody money because they're getting cuts of pay-per-views and stuff like that. I know a lot of people on the internet don't want to see him fight Vanderlei Silva because they're like, oh, he should crush Vanderlei at this point in Vanderlei's career. And I get that Chael would be favored in this, but I mean, Vanderlei has straight up told him that, hey, you need to be nice or else I'm going to knock your teeth out many times. I mean, they were sitting in the car together, and he was like talking about, if you want to save, we have a saying, if you want to, you need to watch your, you need to show respect if you want to save all the teeth in your mouth, and he's telling Chael how he needs to have respect, blah blah blah. And so and this is not like the first time he's called them out. They many times, like on Ariel Helwani's show, he's sitting there going, okay, well, who do you want to fight? He said, I want the worst fighter in the UFC. He's like, give me a Silva, any Silva, Bigfoot Silva, Anderson Silva, Vanderlei Silva, because they all suck. And so this has been kind of an ongoing thing. It would be nice to see him get that fight. I know that now Vitor all of a sudden wants to jump in, and he wants that fight now, but he was saying how he didn't want to fight anybody at 85, and he wasn't going to fight Tim Kennedy. He wasn't going to fight anybody that they put in front of him unless it was Anderson Silva or Chris Weidman for the title. So I don't know. Now he wants that fight, and Machida now wants that fight. So Chael has basically made himself another $1 million.
Sure.
Just because he can cut a good promo, and he backed it up with a damn good fight. So
the best thing that ever happened to Anderson was Chael Sonnen. I think that Anderson needed Chael to redeem himself after the Maya fight, the Talis Latis fight.
A list of boring fights.
Just some atrocious fights, and he needed Chael, and Chael needed Anderson, to put himself on the map. And I think a lot of people love to forget that yes, the guy did have 3 losses, but he had 3 losses to the 2 pound for pound best fighters on the planet. So going in as the underdog to Shogun and then pulling off the submission in the first round, Chael's on fire. And he could pretty much take whatever fight he wants to, and like you said, make $1 million.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think the more interesting fight is Machida, myself.
It's a good style matchup.
Machida's got a lot to prove in the eyes and too much dancing, not really dancing, but too much backpedaling.
Too much avoiding.
I don't buy into the whole counterpunch thing.
firm believer they need a smaller cage for the smaller guys. A 30-foot
Mhm.
cage for some of the small guys is too big, and they got a lot of room to run. And if you put them in a smaller cage, we fight in 2022, even an 18-foot cage, and there's nowhere to go. You stand and you fight. I think it would be really interesting to see some of these smaller guys fight in that cage.
Interesting. I like that idea. I have it on good authority. One of my friends actually trains out at it's like One MMA now. It was Team Quest. The thing he did on the guillotine, the front choke, the guillotine, the jump and guard was actually the game plan for John Jones, and he actually applied it for this fight. He didn't get to do it in the John Jones fight, obviously, but you saw where John Jones' jiu-jitsu is in certain areas. He has athleticism where he can land Kimuras on black belts, but he almost was armbarred by Vitor. So that being said, that was kind of interesting that was the game plan for John Jones, and he used it for Shogun. So
it's a great strategy because no one expects it.
No, he has great hands too. Scott McCrory is a phenomenal striking coach. I've got the pleasure of going out there and meeting him and hanging out with him, but I never got to have him hold mitts. I watched him hold mitts, and it's very interesting how he does it and the way his mind thinks. He had this crazy idea for one of my buddies for a fight where my buddy was a big biker guy, and he was supposed to walk out, act like he was picking up a rock and throw it at the guy to get him to flinch and then light him up, and it worked. He didn't get the knockout like we were playing him, but the guy flinched. He was like, "What the hell is he throwing at me?" And I was like, "I never even thought of that." That was a great idea, and Scott McCrory is kind of a genius in that.
That's
that
like
idea
if you're
where
playing basketball and you're sitting on the line, the guy's blocking on the line, and you fake check the ball towards his face, and he flinches a second, then you pass the ball. That's such bullshit, man. It's like when Verdun walked out there to Roy, and he was
breaking up. Can you guys hear me?
No, John's gone. I hear you fine.
I lost John. No,
No one wants.
We get back.
I'm losing him. He's in and out.
Yeah, he's in and out.
Back around to what the first thing was. How sad is it to see Shogun now in the state that he's in?
Yeah,
full knee surgery. The guy was like a house on fire coming out of Pride after winning the Grand Prix. A very good fight against Forrest, but nobody expected Forrest to win that fight.
I'm back.
Shogun was an absolute beast, and I just don't know where he goes from here.
He needs to retire. He needs to go he's not going to have to go to a gas station like his brother, but he needs to retire for sure. It's over. I mean, as great as he is and as great as he was, he's not going to be able to compete with these guys. It wasn't like Chael, you didn't know what Chael was going to do or how it was going to go. I mean, he just couldn't stop it. He couldn't do nothing with it. So
really, if you can fully wrap your head around it, I mean, for like a lot of the younger guys to take a look at somebody of the caliber of a Shogun, the guy's what, 31, 32 years old? He should be in his prime right now. And
that's what happens when you use yourself up before you even hit those prime years.
He wars the guy in it. You almost need to take a step back and really appreciate what he's done for the sport before he makes that final exit.
Absolutely.
Hopefully people won't remember Shogun as getting choked out by Chael in the first round.
And if you look at the style of his fighting, he's a lot like Vanderlei. He's a guy who goes out there and gives it everything. He's never in a dull fight.
No, never.
Never a dull fight.
That Brandon Vera fight should have never gone as long as it did. But it's a testament to your mentality, that guy.
Now, what do you think if a Chael that's on TRT, like we're going to have with Shogun on TRT, like we have with the Chael Sonnen versus Vitor? Both the guys are going to be on TRT. Do you think that helps him, or do you think that's something where it's not his chin that's gone. His chin's still there.
They're gone. I don't know if TRT can fix his knees or not, but I mean,
that's the thing.
I'm all for it.
Footwork, this is a fighter, which is everything. And when you lose that speed, you can't get out of the way. Your chin stays right there. And it's not that he has a worse chin. It's just he can't get out of the way as easy.
That's true.
Another thing is his strategy was horrible against Chael, and the fact that he thought that he could take an Olympic alternate wrestler and half guard sweep him.
Yeah, I think that comes down to a lot of ego. And the bottom line is that was his only plan. He went for it over and over.
That was it. There was no attempt to stand up. It was no. he really wasn't. I mean, he got lateral dropped. He almost got, like, the first time that Shogun landed the takedown, it was mostly because Chael was trying to lateral drop him, and he kind of just got his hips blocked weird, and he went down. So that the reason Chael got Shogun got the first takedown, or that the first time he got the takedown, Chael was setting up for that lateral drop, which is the one that he ended up landing and then comboing up to the to all the ground and pound and the grinding that he was doing. That whole.
Yeah.
One thing I definitely wanted to talk about is, how do you guys feel about some of the scoring that's going on with a lot of people go, okay, well, Phil Davis attempted 15 takedowns or 10 or 12 or whatever it was, and he only landed 2 of them. So you got to score all this for Machida because he countered the takedown. Well, the problem is a lot of the takedowns that he stuffed, he just backed away from at that point. Whereas several of them and because people were going, maybe round 2 could have gone to Phil Davis. I said, of course round 2 went to Phil Davis, because every time Machida stuffed him, Phil Davis started hitting him. Like, he would stuff him, and then he'd come up with an uppercut and a punch. So he was the one punching, and then Machida just disengaged. It was like, oh, okay, so I'm supposed to. Oh, that's really impressive, Machida. That's great. I'm glad you stuffed the takedown and then got punched.
That Machida is elusive. That he's dangerous. He's a great counter striker. I haven't seen same Machida that lit up Thiago Silva, Ryan Bader. I haven't seen that cat since JBJ choked the life out of him and dropped him a la Hickson Gracie, face first to the mat. He hasn't been back yet. Machida's missing. So I'm not really buying into that whole thing. But
I think a lot of the guys have adjusted to what he's.
Live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Yeah, well, I think people are adjusting to what he's doing.
Machida fought Henderson, because I had Henderson winning that fight on control and aggression alone. Machida did nothing, and he did the same thing against Phil Davis. And if you're gonna try to eke by a decision, I'm not buying it, man.
I personally think that's the problem, is that we have a fundamental problem with the scoring system anyway. Because guys are trying to take advantage of it. They're not trying to win fights. And the sport was made to see what style works the best and who's the best fighter. It's about ending fights. It's not about winning.
I don't like any decisions.
I had the. Are we getting a lot of feedback? Are you guys cutting out, or can everybody hear okay?
They're cutting out a little bit.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Well, you're cutting in and out a little bit, and they're cutting in and out. You guys on both Wi-Fi?
Okay. Well, the thing that my opinion on that is, you've got to score submissions higher than what you're doing. And I know a lot of people say, okay, well, the submission's not causing any damage. But what happens when you score more for submission attempts is people will try more submission attempts, and that's going to keep the pace of the fight going. You're going to get a more entertaining fight when guys are trying to finish each other, and submissions are going to lead to better ground and pound and more attacking and reversals and positions and things like that. I said it last week, where I think Mighty Mouse could have finished God, I want it. It's how do you say his name? It's not Mayorga. That's the fucking boxer. But
Moraga? Is it Moraga?
Kid that don't even know, the kid who was on Facebook prelims. Moraga, yeah. Thank you, Moraga. Yeah, and it looked like he could have gotten that armbar in round 2, but he didn't want to risk anything. And he, again, it's money, it's his title fight, that's his livelihood. So he really
taking chances. It's not just taking chances. It's you reward somebody for clinch work. You reward somebody for the submission attempts. You reward somebody for the takedowns, the takedown attempts, the striking from the clinch. It has to be an overall point system, whereas we're still operating under these rules of almost like the boxing commission, almost, where we need more intelligent judging, we need more intelligent reffing, and I don't think until that point comes, we're kind of going to be stuck in the Middle Ages here.
Absolutely. They're just talking about the half point system, and I do think that's a really good idea. But I also think we just need more intelligent judges that are watching these fights, because you got these dumbasses that only watch boxing, and they watch a little bit MMA, but they don't like the ground, or they don't understand the ground, and they don't understand really what's going on. So guys
are afraid to score 10-8.
Yeah.
They're use a 10-8 round because they think they're going to get judged for it. A lot of times it should be a 10-8 round.
Exactly.
We just had that with Joe Lazan and Michael Johnson. People were like, "Oh, I don't know if I would call that a 10-8 round that first round. I said, what are you talking about? If anything is a 10-8 round, he dropped him twice, and completely dominated him and punched him probably, 40 or 50 times with, Lazan probably landing maybe 4 shots the entire round. And they were hard shots.
Yeah, 7 shots the entire round, I think the official count. So
yeah, I mean, get the fuck out of here. Of course, that's a 10-8 round. Pull the trigger. If you're gonna have to score a 10-9 round for that freaking hug and Uriah Hall put on, which there were moments in it were good, but then they kept stopped doing what was working for him. John Howard did a little bit better of continuing to do what was working for him, but Uriah Hall didn't even throw his best tool that was working in that fight was his jab in the first round, and he didn't use it after the first round at all.
At all. About that was Howard's haircut.
Yeah, that was the most entertaining thing, and then we got to go back to Dana White coming out and going, fuck you, man. You don't know, I don't care how many fights you've watched. I don't care how many boxer size or how many wars that you somehow had in a boxing gym somewhere. Who the fuck are you to sit there and tell somebody who's made it as a professional fighter that they're not really a fighter? Okay, he's not a complete fighter. He hasn't put all the tools together to really access all his abilities and to put on the show that he has that he put on The Ultimate Fighter. But for Dana White to come out there and call somebody not a fighter, get in the ring, motherfucker. I don't want to hear about your fucking bullshit fake boxing matches. Okay, get in the fucking ring and fight somebody if you want to call him a fighter. And this is something that Brad, I chime in on this shit, man. You've got, how many people used to tell you back in the day, all these fucking armchair quarterbacks, at least now more people train, how many of these armchair quarterbacks telling you how you should have fought or what you should have done? I mean, what was that like to be out there? And
well, I'll tell you what, in a great book, they talk about how fighting is the one sport where anybody thinks that they can do it. You don't watch baseball and say, oh, he should have thrown the curveball when you've never played baseball in your life. But you tell a fighter he should have thrown the right hand. It's just natural instinct to think that you can fight even if you've never been in the cage. And the bottom line is, go to a gym, train, spar with a guy, see how hard it is. It's not easy, and it's not as easy as it looks when somebody goes out there next together. And honestly, as a fighter, you have to be respectful and try to show these guys respect and not act like an asshole, because we already have that reputation somewhat. And so you have to sit there and take their bullshit. And it does get old. It does get annoying.
So what was it like back fighting in say 1999 and 2000?
Well, it was illegal. Most places we could fight in Iowa, but everywhere else we fought, instead of having the ref telling you about what the rules were going to be, the only rules were, no biting, no eye gouging, and no fish hooking. Other than that, you could pretty much do whatever you wanted. You just knew the guy was going to do it back. So they would come in and tell you, listen, everybody knows this is illegal. Everybody knows this is underground. So if we get raided, and there's a chance it'll happen, don't fight back. Don't do anything. Just put up your hands and go to jail, and we'll bail you out. We did get raided on a couple occasions. The fighters didn't go to jail. The promoter got fined. But, it was something where you did. And there were guys like Jeremy Horn, Matt and Mark Hughes, all the Militich guys, all the staples that I grew up with, Scott Ventimiglia, CJ Fernandez, guys like that. They were all fighting, and they were doing it for the love of the game. Guys would go out there and, fight 3-4 times in a night, bare knuckle. We couldn't tape anything but our thumb and our wrist. And we did it because we loved it.
Now, did you find that when you were bare-fisted like that, did you feel like effective, or when you started fighting with gloves on, did you feel like it was a lot harder to grapple at that point?
No, I think it's harder to sink chokes and things like that because a guy can grab your gloves and fight the glove. But I think striking was helped by the glove. A lot of people think the glove was there to protect the face of the opponent. It's not. It's to protect our hands. It's so we can do a boxer's wrap. Now, with that, I hit a lot harder on with a good wrap. So I like that. But when a guy gets on the ground, you start to choke, especially with smaller, it sticks out a little more. It's a lot easier to fight the glove and to grab the glove.
If you go back to like the bare knuckle boxing days, the glove actually changed boxing completely because they would have to hit in a certain spot on the face or a risk of breaking their hand. They did a lot more body shots back in those days as opposed to now where everybody's kind of ahead.
We used to do a lot of things where a guy jabs, you just drop your head and take it in the top of the skull, let him break his hand.
Old school Gladiator. I always loved that movie for that. So I learned so
Yeah,
much from that movie.
thinking that you're talking about the Russell Crowe. No, we're talking about the James Marshall Cuba Gooding Jr. boxing movie with Brian Dennehy. Okay,
Yeah.
if you guys haven't seen that, watch that shit. Gladiator's a
aged
badass
myself.
movie. Another good one, guys. If you want bare knuckle boxing, fucking Hard Times with Charles Bronson. Watch that shit.
Way but loose.
Every Which Way But Loose. I just watched that
Yeah.
yesterday.
Which way but loose too.
Clive,
Yeah, that was a good one.
what else?
Brad, what's some of the weirdest situations that you've ever seen happen at these old school fight shows?
Extreme Challenge. We went into Extreme Challenge and we had 4 guys fighting that night, and it was a tournament. So you fought 4 times to win the tournament. One of my good buddies, Autry, was heading into the ring. He got knocked out by a guy who went on to be in the UFC, Militich guy, and never remembered going to the ring. We were walking him out, and one of the fans spit on him. And basically, we went into the crowd. It turned into a melee. The cops broke it up. We went back to the locker room. I had to fight 5 minutes later. So there was still chaos going on. They're trying to get tape on my hands, and basically they all got escorted out. We stayed and fought. But you got a lot of disrespect back then because, I mean, we were fighting for bikers and stuff like that, and they were drunk and excited, and everybody knows when there's that much testosterone in a room, you're going to have some problems.
Did everybody realize that it was a real fight, or did anybody at that point real?
I think they all knew it was a real fight. I think they all just thought they could do better and thought he should have done better. And they don't realize when you're a heavyweight, if a guy hits you in the chin, it's all over.
Mm-hmm.
Did they know it was real when you got out the steel chair?
Back when we used to dip our hands in glass.
Knock some cow.
I want tampo.
Oh, sand. That's got to be nuts. Going back to those days where you're fighting in like bowling alleys and freaking high school gymnasiums and just crowd of people around you. Berger tells me stories about that, and I mean, I kind of am jealous of you guys that you got to do that. I'm also kind of jealous that I'm also kind of like, I don't know if I want to do that where you might get beat up and you might get dropped in the dumpster outside too. So.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you a good story. We were fighting in a bar for a bunch of Hell's Angels one night, and this was a show where Rob the card, I fought on the card, Todd Murphy did, Mark Hughes fought on the card, Vin Amelia fought on the card, and we were in a boxing ring and the roof was so low, they took bubble tape and wrapped the sprinkler system so when you picked the guy up and slammed him, his head didn't crack.
That's awesome.
Back then.
In your opinion, back in the day, was Mark better than Matt?
Mark was a better wrestler. He never came around in the cage. Matt's a better fighter without a doubt, but everybody I've talked to says Mark was a way better wrestler. Both those boys are really, really tough. But no one can downplay what Matt did in the sport. Matt was a dominant fighter.
Did you bring your Matt Hughes Bible with you tonight?
No, I'm not going to read you guys any Bible verses. You can keep that for yourself.
So, so what was bars like the weirdest place that you had ever fought?
Oh, we fought a couple of fairgrounds when it rained the entire time on us. Some people in the ring. We fought in boxing rings back then. There just wasn't enough cages around, so a lot of times we fought in the elements. But mainly just a lot of shitholes for 100 people and things like that.
So it was really Valley Tudo style.
Yeah, it was Valley Tudo. You couldn't wear boxing trunks. You had to wear spandex, which was always fun. But it was.
You wear like a Sakuraba, like oversized cup?
Oh, I have to. I mean, I got a lot of covered.
That's awesome.
I mean, coming into the, you continue to fight a little bit into the new era. What were some of your experiences as rules changed? Did you feel like it you as a fighter, or did you find that it was more beneficial? I mean, how did you feel when we went through that period in Illinois where you couldn't throw closed fists on the ground, you had to throw slaps? I mean, you remember that, where you had to throw slaps on the ground.
The open hands I think are ridiculous. However, it didn't really change a lot. You can hit somebody with a palm strike pretty damn hard. Elbows changed the game a lot. I used to love to stomp a downed opponent to be able to soccer kick a guy. I think it ends fights quicker and you don't really do as much damage. Elbows cut, they can end careers. Stomps, usually you don't see concussions and things from that. So I think the biggest change though was the cages being everywhere, because a cage is a weapon. A cage favors a striker. If I'm going against a guy like you you jack your ass up against the cage and keep those hips shut down. And in boxing rings, as soon as you got on the ropes, they put you back in the center like they did in Pride, and you had to be able to ride a guy.
Mhm.
So I think it took a lot more technical fighters on the ground.
And yeah, we'd always see that in Pride, where the pace of the matches never really slowed down that much. I mean, it was go 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 go, and almost every fight you would get just you know, a really, you know, varied skill set. Now, I mean, again, it was, you know, I mean, there's a lot of things going into that. Obviously, the testing policies, you know, allowed fighters to get, you know, bigger, stronger, faster. You know, the crazy matchups that they would do, the ability to, you know, having a ring where you could corner somebody better, where they would have to shoot for the takedown, create a scramble, and they'd be all, and then you'd be tangled up on the ropes, and then they'd pull you back to the center, and you were moving, and things like being able to throw soccer kicks. I mean, that completely turned Pride on its you know, flipped it upside down when they started allowing soccer kicks. You know, Sakuraba had really championed that turtle position to shut people down on ground and pound, and then they're like, okay, now you're going to fight Vanderlei Silva, and we're going to allow soccer kicks. And you know, that fuck, man, he you know, probably he lost a lot of his probably personal memories from those fights. You know.
Have you ever seen a guy actually hurt with a soccer kick like that?
One time. In India they're allowing it now. And who was it that fought and got just knocked the fuck out?
You definitely see knockouts, but I think you see a lot more injuries that will keep you out of the game for a while with elbows.
Really?
I think you get a lot more long-term cuts. A guy like Nick Diaz, look at him. He had to get his forehead shaved down because he cut too often.
And Vanderlei as well. I mean, we've seen a lot of guys that have had a lot of scar tissue removed, bone being shaved.
Vanderlei looks like a different guy after all that nose jobs and shit.
Maybe a bad soccer kick knockout's one of those things where you go, yeah, I think I'm gonna hang it up, or I'm not gonna do it anymore. But we have gotten some of those injuries. Look at Alan Goes versus Mark Coleman now. I mean, Mark Coleman, you know, need him to the point where he's got brain damage.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, those are knees, not soccer kicks.
Well,
but
that's a north-south knee hit to the top of the head, which they.
Yeah, Randleman had a couple of fights where he just landed some amazing knees from the north-south, where he just like did his insane athletic, throwing his hips in the air and slamming down, just crushing people's faces.
Didn't Randleman do that to Fedor briefly before he got twisted up like a pretzel?
Well, I thought what happened when he got the suplex, dropped him on his neck, and then Fedor just kind of twisted, scrambled, used that good core strength that he's got, and got on top and threw him in a Kimura.
Yep. So I mean, you guys did it where it was soccer kicks. What about headbutts? You guys did headbutts?
No, I mean, don't. I wish I could say that I was doing it back in the day, but it's this guy, not me.
We started out with headbutts. Honestly, with IFC, when that was around, the International Valley Judo Championships. When Mark Kerr went in there and he started he started the brain headbutt, where he just get guard, grab your wrists, and dive in with his head and smash you. That was probably 98 or 99. That was about the time they started taking them out, even around here, because people saw that you could really just control the hands, dive in, and there was nothing you could do about it.
No.
There's no defending that. You're just trying to get out of the way.
Yeah, you know, and especially at that point when you were possibly fighting somebody that was 40 pounds heavier, too.
Yeah, and like I say, back then we were fighting 4 times a night, so the last thing they wanted was somebody to not be able to fight the next fight because they were injured.
I mean, that's a testament back to like the original Grand Prix in Pride. I mean, Mark Coleman fucked up many a dude until he ran into Igor Volchanchin. But I mean, how many of those guys in that tournament were unable to continue? And you saw like people like the likes of Ensign Inoue, Mark Coleman came around back for that tournament. You know, Mark Kerr fell to the side.
Well, and you saw that a lot in the early UFCs. Who was Scott Ginham, the cop that came in, and 2 of them and one as an alternate, and fought once in
Goodridge.
Yeah, it's not fair, and that's the part that sucks. But I still like the tournament. I think 2 fights in a night is about enough. But Pride was doing it well. They have 2 fights in, I believe, the championship round. But in the beginning you fought once a night.
Yep. And who doesn't try to finish a fight when you have a 10-minute first round?
When you got to fight again, you're going after them.
Yeah. You want to get that fight done, and you have a quick correction. When you talked about Igor Volchanchin stopping, you met Mark Kerr. Mark Coleman won the Grand Prix and then immediately fell off the ropes after he won.
Yeah.
Right.
Just quick correction on that. Yeah, and speaking of Steve Jenham, that's an excellent point. He comes in, continue, and he fought Harold Howard in the finals, right? So just with cursory grappling knowledge, he got in, got mounted, got the armbar, and it's like, oh, UFC tournament winner. What was that? UFC 3? Because both Shamrock and Gracie pulled out.
Yeah, very early.
But
what one was Gracie and
Shamrock. 1 and 2 were Gracie. 3 was Steve Jenham. 4 and 5 were 4 was Gracie. 5 was Dan Severin. 6 was Oleg Tektorov. And then I think we started getting some of the ultimates. So I know Don Fry won that first ultimate against Tank Abbott in the finals.
That brings up how many times you guys see somebody come in like drunk or drinking into the ring back in how many times did you see that back in the day where you saw guys like Tank Abbott come slam a beer and then go fight?
You see a lot of guys in the bar, and I've actually been to a lot of fights where somebody backed out like we were talking about, and they just asked, does anybody in the crowd want to take his place? And I've actually seen a few that win, which is always funny. One guy that he was a kid from East St. Louis, and they literally took scissors and cut his jeans off, and he went in with a belt and a belt buckle and fought.
Oh shit!
It was a bit of the Wild West back.
Humble beginnings of the sport. Oh man. Well, hell, if you want to see people fucked up, you can still see that nowadays, man. We got we found that out on our podcast. People go out high and fight, and it whole performance enhancing stance on weed, man. Because like if weed is how you relax and you smoke weed the day of the fight and taking care of the nerves that way, and then going out there and it's something that's regular to your system and things like that. I don't know. That could be
real about it. The MMA community is a pot smoking community. It simply is.
Well, I know, and but definitely, I mean, pot's such a big deal, but amphetamines are a big deal. If you think you're a good fighter, throw some crystal meth in your system and see how good you fight, man. It's like you will kick somebody's fucking ass on crystal meth. You know, I mean that's it's like Aaron Pryor left boxing. Now he used to do so much fucking cocaine that his body went completely numb, and then he'd go out there and beat the shit out of Alexis Aguero. God, I'm tripping on the word now. And he's who was one of the best boxers ever to come out, and Aaron Pryor just whooped his fucking ass. And the second he got off of quit boxing, he went right into rehab to try to take care of his coke habit. So you guys would be doing coke to get up for fights.
How much water did he need in between rounds though?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know, Dan. I don't do cocaine.
Chatting up his corner. What's going on, guys? How you doing? Fuck yo, thirsty as shit. I got piss. That wasn't called a baby laxative for sure.
Yeah, no. It was all good shit. If you're if you're making a couple $100,000 a fight, I assume you can afford the better things. But I don't know what Tyson spent $100 million during his career.
Tigers.
Wasn't steroids either.
Well, I mean, that's a great segue into another point, man. What about fighters' salaries compared to like boxing? Where
that's a travesty. When you saw the difference in pay between Weidman made and what Silva made, it's ridiculous. We're talking about $800,000 difference, and Silva's only making $850,000 or whatever it was.
Plus the pay-per-view points.
To make $1 million.
Yeah, and I think most people, for the most part, are pretty much done with boxing. But fighting in general, how many fans have been clamoring for years to see Pacquiao and Mayweather go at it? And if it would ever happen, you're talking 25, 30 million a piece, just straight up.
Oh, that's guaranteed. That's guaranteed money, regardless of. Then they're gonna get stuff on the back end. The thing about it, and boxing isn't necessarily done because boxing has such a rich culture.
These guys aren't getting paid shit.
Oh shit, we're talking at the same time.
For what these guys do in MMA, they need to be making more money. They need to have spectrum because you can't fight forever. And these guys do a lot of damage to their body and to their brain.
Poor Nick Diaz, he doesn't even have a house.
Yeah, Nick Diaz smokes a lot of weed though.
What do you think
It's a
would
breed
it
if
would
he's
take to save boxing? Obviously, getting rid of Don King, but smaller gloves, smaller ring, maybe getting guys. There are fighters that actually come out to knock people out and not point fight. A local guy, Ryan Coyne, is a prime example. He goes out to try and hurt people, and you got guys that throw jabs and just try and move.
We've got to reward that. That's what the sport is about. And we need to reward that and not reward these guys who just go out there and try to win on decision. You know, give a line.
We lose him?
shit. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. He's right, though.
No
We do need to
idea
reward
why.
that.
Oh wow, it looks like we completely. Yeah, tell him we believe lost him. We can't hear him out there. Okay, Dan, you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. But they're right. I mean, they know that they both know their shit. Smaller gloves, I think, and smaller ring would save boxing. And you do need to reward guys that are going out and trying to give knockouts. Maybe longer boxing rounds would fix it. I don't fucking know. Maybe 5-minute rounds where the guys are actually having to fight. But would it be more boring or what? Maybe minute rounds would be quicker. I don't know. I have no fucking idea. Honestly, as much as I love boxing, it's changed so much from when I was growing up and watching Mike Tyson and things. So.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that's hurting boxing right now is just the bureaucracy. The ingrained bureaucracy, the politics, and it's the way politics ruin every freaking sport. Bureaucracy and politics getting involved in things, and it's not about the fighters fighting for the fans. One thing I will it'll load up in a second. The one thing that I will say is locally, you know, people can't really complain about pay because Jim Jenkins out there pays better than any other promoter out there. Jim Jenkins pays more, and you fuckers don't show up for his to his shows. You know, he'll do a show, he gets 500 600 people, so when he's shooting for 2,000 and the local MMA scene doesn't want to show up and promote and help. So if we want fighters to get better pay, then you fucking support the promoter that actually pays the best.
It's absolute bull. I mean, it really is bullshit. You'd never see me miss a Jim Jenkins show. I usually see you there at some point. And I mean, the guy is actually a promoter that you want to work for because he's not trying to fuck you constantly. While a lot of people don't like him, I love the guy. He gave me my fucking, I can't sing his praises enough. You show up to the fucking fights, amateurs. You want to be on a fucking card, show up to the motherfucking fights. This is ridiculous that I see you guys on one card and then I never see you again until you fight again. Fucking pay the $20, show up. You might be fighting these guys. You might as well videotape the guys that are in your weight class because that might be the guy that's kicking the shit out of everybody and comes to kick your ass next and you never seen them fight. So
and that's an excellent point. Go there with your smartphone and do some recon. Sit there and know who's in your division, know who the kingpins are, and get out there and fight. And now you got every single every single gym out there wants to do their own promotion now, and it's like, okay, we're basically slowly blocking Jim from the market when he's the best payer. Wait until all these little guys and they're trying to do their shows and things like that, and then all of a sudden they're like, they get somebody local who's a good fighter like Luigi Fioravante on, and they try to get him on the card, and they're like, okay, great, we can't afford that $2,500 payday for him. Hey, will you?
You're breaking up.
And put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah.
And so then everything starts to get smaller and smaller until you're doing crowds like 4 and 5 working with the same fighters, and they're always fighting fucking bums, and none of the best fighters ever fight each other. And guess what we call that? Fucking boxing. Okay, that's what happens in fucking boxing. So we can't bitch about the pay in MMA when locally we don't even show up. We don't even show up to support the best paying promoter in the area. And that's what, and I would like to see on the UFC level, you can totally.
You guys hear me?
Can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you. I lost Benton.
Yeah, nobody wants him anyway.
All right. But he's right. People fucking aren't showing up to these shows. I try and get to as many amateur shows as I can now. I can't go to everyone because my wife will divorce me. But I try and get to every fucking one to see these guys because these are the guys I'm gonna be fighting in a year or 2 years too. And I mean, you gotta support the sport.
I was gonna say, beyond that, let's be real, it's the best sport out there. What else are you gonna do on a Saturday night besides watch some guys go out there and get it on? Come on, that's
beat
a good
the fuck out of each other and have a beer with your buddies. You know,
Absolutely.
I mean, where do you get to do that? You could go fucking bowl and have a beer, or you could go watch some guys beat the fuck out of each other.
Exactly.
So we lost you, Ben.
Guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and turn my video feed off to see if we can save some bandwidth. Maybe that'll help. Okay.
You're not as pretty as us anyway.
I know Brad is much better looking than I am, and I'll tell you what, Donut is so handsome. I think I could just kiss him.
Oh,
We've been down that road before, pal.
We've got proof of that. But you know what he told me? He said that if he wanted
I
somebody,
knew it.
they look like the son of God.
That's right. They actually they caught me a picture. Like we were talking shit and drinking, and the next thing I know, they took a picture of it and then posted. It's up in the gym. It's hanging in the gym.
You know what? If you can't have a good time with the gay shit that fighters do, then how can you have a good time?
Yeah, I mean,
You know, we spend a lot of time between each other's legs.
It is weird that we do a lot of gay shit, though. Ain't
hey
it?
man, I'm not interested in guard work. I'm a Republican and a Christian, for God's sake. I don't believe in wrapping my legs around another man.
Absolutely, one of the best things that was ever said in MMA.
That's right. That's why I apple with my eyes closed, so I don't have to make eye contact.
That's right. It's only gay if you make eye contact.
Speaking of grappling with your eyes closed, what do you think about that, Benton? I do that also.
Yeah, I think that when you come up in jiu-jitsu, you learn to be relaxed like that.
Mhm.
You should, it's all by touch, so you shouldn't have to use your eyes.
Strangely, I grapple better with my eyes closed. And it fucking pisses people off when you choke them out and your eyes were closed the entire time and they think you're just being a cocky asshole. But I actually grapple better with my fucking eyes closed.
You know, honestly, went up. That was one of the things we had to do. The coach would tell you, close your eyes, and you had to grapple like that. You had to learn to rely on touch.
I'll tell you what, one of the most humbling experiences I ever had at gym was going 15 minutes with Scott Ventimiglia and not getting past his guard, and he was blindfolded.
Mm-hmm.
Other than showering with me afterwards.
That's a humbling experience in and of itself. But I mean, I tried like hell to get past Scott's guard, and I don't think that he did it to be cocky. It was just,
It's a training exercise.
He's that fucking good.
And like I say, you have to rely on touch. You can't rely on your sight all the time. Guys do take fingers in the eye, and the ref ain't always there to help you out. Sometimes on the street, somebody may mace you or something like that. You never know. And jiu-jitsu is about touch. It's about getting contact and starting to work the body.
I mean, think about how many women actually carry mace nowadays. I mean, so there's a definite risk, being maced by a woman and still being able to go out and achieve your goal, whatever that might be, with that mace in your face.
I think that Mike Tyson calls that perfume.
Awesome.
Rape jokes.
I love rape jokes. Sadly.
Yeah, no. The only time that I get people sometimes get frustrated is when I'm rolling, but I'll coach other people when I'm watching other people and trying to, as a coach, I'm not even worried about it. Like I'll roll with people and then coach and talk to other groups of people and say, hey, do this, do that while I'm rolling. And sometimes most people don't really care that you're doing that, but then sometimes you'll get somebody who's like, man, it's not supposed to be like this. I'm supposed to be good. And it's like, nah, dude, it's like, yeah, we're not having an MMA fight right now. We're not throwing punches or anything like that. We're just rolling, and it's something that I've spent a lot of time doing. So it's not a big deal. And it's just, and hell, I got to do my job. I got to be able to coach.
Yes, don't close your eyes in an MMA fight. It's bad times. I had a fight where I got hit.
Well, usually the MMA fight's over when you close your eyes.
I had an MMA fight where I got hit in the eye and I couldn't see. And the only reason I wasn't knocked unconscious on the ground was I rolled with my eyes closed so many times and I was able to move around a little bit and almost landed a guillotine, but I didn't. It was the only fight I lost too. And I got slammed on my head. But I almost had a guillotine with my eyes closed. I could not fucking see.
You're going to have blood in your eyes.
Yeah, get blood in your eyes. Had that happen to me too.
You better know how to fight without your eyes.
Yep.
Yeah, that recently happened to my buddy. He was dominating this fight, but he got a nasty cut over his forehead. And it was the first time in like 7 years that my buddy that works the corner didn't bring his epinephrine with him. and it was the first time, so he couldn't stop the cut from bleeding. And what happened in the third round, the guy hit him, and the blood rolled back into his eyes, and he flinched and he panicked because there was that separation, that distance where that guy is about 3 foot in front of you, and he can't see, and he fucking panicked, and he was caught in the corner, and he dropped down, and the guy hit him, so he sat to his butt really quick, and the guy ended up catching his back. And he said he could still keep going, but the guy was ground and pounding him from broke down position, and he was still trying to fight. He was still fighting, but the referee just kind of called off. It was a little fast stoppage, but still, I mean, he got screwed because of the blood in his eyes.
If you haven't had that happen a lot, and I'm a guy who's got my nose broke a lot of times, so you get used to not seeing all the time. If you haven't had it happen, it's very, very scary the first time when a guy's trying to take your head off and you can't see it.
Well, as a fighter, back in those days, how often did you run into people on the street trying to challenge you?
Oh,
especially in that lovely Alton area.
Every time you go out drinking, John.
I think he's got the police blotter to prove it.
Do you have any funny stories from that?
Barstool tough guys who want to tell you how many bar fights they've been in, and they think that that's legitimate.
You can throw a Scott Ventimiglia story in there. Some of the things that he would say to people if you want to.
Oh yeah, Scott. One night we were at a bar, and me, Bruce, so Ventimiglia, and so some shit started to break out, and this guy in the crowd walked around and tried to kiss a little ass to Scott, and Scott said, "Don't come over here and talk to me like we're equal. We are not equal." And the guy was like, "We just want to have fun. We just want to drink beer." And Scott said, "You got to realize, we're gonna have fun and drink beer whether we have to whip your ass or not." And he dropped his head and turned around and walked back, and that was about the end of it.
I'd always kind of like Jersey Shore after about 10 or 12 drinks.
Yeah, Scott drinks with him, and anybody approaches him, and he gets aggressive, it turns right into Jersey Shore. The Dago comes out in him, and it's, he immediately turns into the Sopranos.
Who the fuck do you think you are?
That's funny, man. That's like that's the first. It's nice that our guest is jumping in with the racial the racial statements, because it's normally Dan who's just bashing black people.
Well, I learned that from your girlfriend.
That nice joke there. So my girlfriend, also Italian, got drunk, and all of a sudden in front of everybody started full on I won't use whatever racial slurs she used, but went full on South City full
fascism to like the Woodruff area.
Yeah, I know. I totally I had the man. I had the Big Lebowski moment. The Chinaman is not the.
Hey, in her defense, this was after about 2 bottles of tequila.
Speaking of tequila, I should go get my tequila. No,
I was just thinking the same thing.
You want to both just leave? We'll just leave the podcast and leave it up to Benton, and we'll go get our tequila and start doing shots. I think I should to do tomorrow.
Right, go get the tequila. Ben and I'll do it. Yeah. Go get it, Dan.
All right. Oh shit. Now I'll have to start telling my daughters how racist my daughter is in a little bit. My daughter is probably the most racist person you've ever met in your life. She's 7 years old, and did I ever tell you the Chris Paris story?
No.
Oh, my daughter went to an all-black school, okay? So this wasn't for me at all, but she's very, very racist. I'll tell the story real quick before I go down. So I was trying to break her or being racist. Chris Paris is like 6'4", 250 pounds.
Now, when you say break her, do you mean encourage it?
No.
Did you rub her nose in him?
Yeah. Well, you're gonna like this story. She's very, very racist. She says she doesn't like black people. I'm trying to break her of it, trying to get her not say that, at least in public. So anyway, people are
gonna blame you for that shit.
I know, and I already look like a fucking skinhead, so it's not good times. I have a lot of black friends. No, I'm not racist to black people, at least.
He had to say that.
Isn't that how every single racist story starts? I have a lot of black friends.
I have a lot of black friends. No, so anyway, I
do have black friends, so
it's all right.
I introduced her to Chris Paris, who's a very, very large black man. I'm like, hey, Michaela, I'd like to introduce you to my friend Chris. He's a pro MMA fighter. She goes, but Dad, he's black. This is at Burgers MMA in front of everybody. I said, Michaela, stop. Go say hi to Chris. Now, I taught her how to fight. She got picked on a lot because she was a white kid at an all-black school. So how I taught her how to fight was street fighting. If a black boy walked up and messed with her, which was happening, she was getting punched in the face, she was getting punched in the stomach, pushed down. I taught her how to street fight. So I told her, hit him in the nuts. As if they come and mess with you, hit him in the nuts. She walks up to Chris Paris, says, "Hi, my name's Michaela," and punches him in the cock. He drops cold to the stairs. I got witnesses for this. What the fuck, O'Connor? I'm like, Michaela, no, fuck. So, yeah, she dropped the pro fighter cold to the ground at 6 years old at the time with a fucking punch right. Wasn't wearing a cup, straight to the nuts. I was like, poor Chris. I threw him under the bus saying his real name, too. But, no, she's getting better at it. She's now at a school where she's not the lone white kid, where she's not getting picked on constantly. But those kids were just, she was the odd man out, so they were kind of a little bit harder on her. So it wasn't so much that they were racist, but it was a pretty ghetto-ass school. So, but poor kid. Poor Chris.
Oh, man. See, now I feel bad. Directly where my mind went was fast forward 15 years, and now we've got – oh, Brad already knows where I'm going. Look, yeah. Brad's already laughing.
I doubt that's –
hey, man, listen, all I'm saying is as long as you – like, your one goal as a dad is to keep your daughter off the pole and off of video. I didn't have to go any further when I said fast forward 15 years. Every single guy around here goes.
I've already said I'm naming my daughter AIDS Chlamydia Jones, so no one will ever touch her.
My wife used to go into places in North County, and they would talk to her and go, "Oh, what does your husband do?" "Oh, he's a pro fighter." And I'm like, "Stop saying that. Say I'm a personal trainer." And she'd come in. I used to have a black 300 Eclipse, blacked out. Big old rims on it. So, and my daughter's name is Michaela, so they immediately thought I was a black guy. And they my buddy went to the place that she was at. His husband, big black guy. I'm like, he's actually the complete fucking opposite. He's like 5 foot nothing, white as hell. So I was like, he figured. But
he watches a lot of BET, so you know.
I do watch a lot of BET.
Down.
I like rap music and videos.
What? Oh no. Brad, a shot of tequila.
Just like from The Departed.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'll take a shot of tequila. Dan,
let me go get my tequila.
I'm gonna see how well you can drink. Let's see how derailed we can get this podcast in the next 30 minutes.
Are we gonna get thrown off the air again?
I don't know by who.
That's true. Are we?
I don't know.
Are we like the runners of this one? We're not gonna get thrown off the air. We have to throw ourselves off the air.
Yeah, I know. I'm the only guy that's been like. You can find people fucking donkeys on the internet, but I'm the one who's been fired from the internet twice.
You know, John, I know a girl if you want to get that going.
All right, let's go get tequila.
Did you ever hear the Halo story?
Oh, God.
What's up?
No, that's not one for the podcast. That one makes.
Oh, hell yeah, it is, dude. Hell yeah, it is.
You got to tell the Halo story.
All right.
I just told a racist story about my daughter. Anything's fucking free game.
I had this friend. She was, come over.
He's telling the Halo story.
And
your sister just goes, "Are you kidding me?"
She was on her way to my house from a bar, and she got in a wreck and broke her neck. So I get a call from her mother the next day. I got to head to the hospital. I've known this girl for maybe a week, but I've been banging her, so she wanted to see me. So I come up there. I hang out with her for like a week in the hospital. She gets out. She's in a full fucking fledged Halo. Her friends won't even come and get her because you got to be all careful with her. So she's asking me to come pick her up. I come pick her up. We go watch some movies, shit like that. She wants to fuck. So I start trying to. Her head starts hitting the headboard, and the screws literally start bleeding. That was about where I had to get off that train, but it makes for a good story.
He fucked the blood out of her head.
Time for tequila?
Yeah. Hey, Dan, we already got tequila in our hands.
Oh, bullshit. My daughter's sleeping.
Go get it, man.
Ready for me. All right. Be right back.
All right. So before we get too derailed, guys, obviously this doesn't have to happen to have too much about. I kind of want to stay on the street fight thing, man. You got any other cool street fight stories that you want to share with anybody, or anything that's it probably not legally a good idea?
Yeah, I would say I'd have to stay away from those. I have had a few troubles with that. Once you turn pro, If you get in a street fight, they try to give you aggravated battery felony.
Like Nicolas Cage and
Yeah.
Con Air.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's a good point for guys who, if you make your living fighting right there, that's if you fight the wrong person or something like that, you never know who knows who, and then next thing you know, what's up?
I said, don't beat up cops' brothers.
Yeah, I know, because no one can act like a drunken dickhead and then turn around and be like, well, my brother's a cop, so I can get away with murder. That's the way you boys roll in Illinois, man. This place is fucking corrupt as shit, man. I swear, you get. I mean, it's Al Capone and Obama, man. That's
Obama. Al Capone was a saint compared to him.
Yeah, Al Capone just cheated on taxes and ran numbers and had was running alcohol, which is legal nowadays.
But if you want to talk about how many people that died because of each one of them, I think Obama's got a bigger count.
At least Capone killed mostly bad guys.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure the Patriot Act is in full effect right now.
Yeah, we all just got red listed. The IRS will be checking your books now.
And you guys are leaving, and they're gonna come to my house.
We started bad mouthing Obama while you were gone.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we were talking about how corrupt he is, and Richard Nixon gets impeached. Sorry, they were threatening to impeach him, so he resigned instead for spying on somebody who they thought was doing wrongdoings. Meanwhile, Obama then or the Snowden releases that the NSA is completely taping everything that we do right now. They know what we're doing right now, and then they turn around and no one will fault Obama for it. It's like, well, these are the times we live. If you want to be safe, you've got to have them up your personal business at all times. It's like, why? So they can.
The guy thanked him for it.
It's like, dude, people should have stayed awake in history lessons or civics class or something like that. They would know these are the steps: disarming people, getting everybody on the government tit. Everybody, these are the steps that people take to build a more socialistic society. So if you want your freedoms, your freedom of privacy, your freedom to smoke fucking weed, man. What's going on with that shit?
Irish under the bus. What does your daughter think about Obama?
She thought she used to pronounce it as Rocco Bama. So I think she thought she was a big fat Italian guy.
Nice.
But yeah, she doesn't know much about him, but
cheers. Let's throw it back.
What kind of kill you guys?
What's up with these shots? That was like 2 shots.
Yeah, that was a big one.
That's Dan, do another shot to catch up. We had like Dixie cups full of tequila.
What?
Yeah. So what were we?
What kind of tequila you guys drinking?
Let's hear a street story. Let's hear a street fight story for you, man. Because I know with you being like 6 pounds, a lot of guys try to pick on you.
I got a fuck ton. I'll go back to there we go. This one got me a job actually. I was at a bar at Teachers called off of 94.
Oh yeah.
I had a buddy that was a jiu-jitsu guy and he's really fucking nerdy. So I brought him out to the bar and I said, hey, you know what? Come out and have a drink. He'd never really gone out with people. And so I brought him out, and about halfway through the night, my wife was there. She's plastered fucking drunk. The bouncer, who's a buddy of mine, is a chubby, nerdy guy, walks up to me and goes, hey, can you help me? I say, hey, what's up? He goes, these 2 guys at the bar are whipping their dicks out at these older ladies. Can you help me throw them out? And I was like, oh, yeah, no problem, man. So I walk up, and I turn around to see where he's at, and he's gone. So I was like, well, I guess I'm throwing these guys out. So I put my hand on the guy's shoulder, and I said, hey, you got to go. Well, before this, I told the jiu-jitsu guy, I said, hey, stay by the door because the fight happens. It's going to happen by the door. They're going to let me walk them all the way to the door, and they're going to turn around and fight me. I've been in enough bar fights to know exactly where the fucking fight happens. So I get these guys at the door, and sure enough, they turn around. The nerdy jiu-jitsu guy is standing there, and I tell the guys, hey, you know what? Let's fucking go. Come on, man. You're already at the door. You might as well just leave. Nerdy jiu-jitsu guy jumps in front of me and goes, fuck you. He's wearing a ground fighter hat, and the gym I was at was a straight jiu-jitsu gym t-shirt. No, he's wearing a jiu-jitsu t-shirt, which I never wear any of this shit to the bar. The big guy, because we're a shorter guy and a big guy. The big guy grabs my shirt, pulls him outside. The shorter guy gets in my face. I headbutt him. He falls out the door. I look outside to see what's going on with my buddy. I open the door real quick. My buddy's unconscious on the ground, so I grab the bigger guy, take him to the ground, and I hit him once. I was like, I'm be nice to this guy. So I figured I was going to do an Ezekiel choke on him. 2 thumbs right to my fucking eyes. So I got pissed. I start pounding on his fucking head. Look up. The guy that I headbutted is sprinting towards me from the opposite side. So I think I'm going to get my teeth knocked out. Put my hand up and just close my eyes and go, I fucked up. I went to the ground in a street fight. And the guy stops and punched me in the back of the head twice. So I grab his leg. I pull him down. Punching 2 guys, holding both guys down by their throats and just hitting them. Crowd comes in, and I have like 5 guys that are at the bar all the time, pulling me off of these guys. The guys leave, call the cops, and the cops show up. And I guess the guys were drunk enough they didn't remember. Give me a little bit of break on this. I was wearing an Affliction shirt with a big ass angel on it.
Faggot.
This is like 5 years ago when Affliction was okay.
Player, give him a break.
I took my hat off when I fought these guys. I took my wallet out, gave my keys to my wife because I knew they were probably going to start fight. So the cops are standing 5 feet away. These guys are standing real close to me. The guy's bleeding out of his mouth. The other guy's all cut up. I had my thumbs in his eye at one point. And he goes, man, fucking guy, I don't know what the fuck. He's like 6'5", wearing a big-ass angel shirt. I'm like 5'4". I'm standing there with a hat on. He goes, bald head. So cops are like, we'll find him. They walk right by me. I'm paying my tab at the bar. My eyes are this big going, holy shit. They walk by and they're walking through the crowd. So I'm like grabbing my wife, like, get the fuck out of here. I'm driving home and my head's hurting like a motherfucker from where I headbutted this guy. So I take my hat off. My wife looks at my head and goes, look in the mirror at your head. Something's wrong. Look in the mirror and I have 2 fucking teeth in my head still, like 2 broken off fucking teeth. I have to pull them out. And hindsight 2020, I should have kept them, but I threw them out the fucking window. I got called the next day by a guy that owns a bar and knew my wife and hired me as a bouncer the next day. So
that's badass that you had teeth stuck in your head.
Yeah, I still got a scar from it. I'll have to show you in person. But I always tell these goddamn stories, and I always get one up. I told this story to Boss Rutan, and he goes, all right, so I was at a bar. I'm like, oh, fuck. He tells great ones.
Oh, yeah.
I bet.
Boss is a crazy fucker.
That's the difference about Europeans and people from Russia and those guys, those places that their fathers and their grandfathers grew up in these war-torn areas. There's this ingrained intensity of where men are encouraged to be men, and sometimes men fight. Here in America, things have been so great that even though we have better athletes, our guys will still gas out in fights because that nerves, that tenseness of the situation, where all these other guys grew up fighting and they grew up being men. And that was culturally encouraged, where that's stifled here in America. So, it's funny to see how you have a lesser athlete not gas out because they're so conditioned to that, hey, sometimes guys fight and it's part of being a man. Standing your ground and fucking standing up for what you believe in, and sometimes that means you got to put your foot in somebody's ass.
And nerves are a big deal, but I think a lot of that has to go with also training. A lot of people don't realistically get in there and go at it hard. There should be injuries in training, so you don't have injuries in the cage. You have to go at it before you get in there and actually fight. If not, by the time you get in there and somebody throws a real punch at you, aren't ready for it, you're fucked. And too many guys think they can get away with hitting a bag like we talked about earlier, or think they can just roll all the time. And don't ever have to take a clean shot to the head. And if you can't eat it too, you're gonna wake up on the canvas.
Going back to your point, John, I don't think we're too far removed from the days like when we were involved in sports and stuff as a kid. And nowadays, it's fucking watered down, man. Kids, with all the bullying and everybody in trophy now and everything, and people don't fucking stand up for themselves anymore.
And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm totally with you. And I do appreciate the fact that nerd culture, as somebody who is a fucking severe avid, comic book reader and not so much a video game player, but I fucking love comics, man. Like before we got on air, I was reading to Dan about my big post about how Thanos with the Infinity Superman Prime 1 million. So, which is such a ridiculous argument to have in the first place. But, that's what the internet is, the place for these kind of arguments. But the whole thing is like, and I tell people time and time again, I learned how to fight so I could be a fucking nerd in peace. Yeah, I like comic books. If you get in my face, especially after I had that fucking shot at tequila, I'm going to fucking eat your face in front of your children, fucking snort a bunch of fucking bath salt. I wouldn't even go for the women at that point. I need an asshole to squeeze my dick harder. That's what I fucking need at that point. That's why I feel like I would love a woman like, yeah, I want another shot of Cava Wava. That's why I feel like I would like somebody like Ronda Rousey, because she stinks like a man from what I hear,
Hey, you have to tell that story again, because I don't think, did Ben hear that story? Rousey's pussy stinking?
So so a friend of ours.
Is this going to be our weekly thing? We're going to talk about Ronda.
We're going to talk about Ronda's pH levels. That's how you know a girl is a badass, though, right there. If she stinks as much as a man does, how many times have we seen women go to work out and you smell them afterwards and it's kind of sexy and they smell good? They still smell good even though they're a stinky mess. But when Ronda stinks like a man, come on, man. I'm like, I do respect her ability, and I love the fact that she does stink like a man, because that makes her a badass fighter. But, so a friend of ours that trained with her said that she stinks like a man.
A friend we can't get in trouble again.
We can't get in trouble again, because he cannot stop getting himself in trouble.
I like that about him, though. Like a guy that can find himself
like the only guy on the. Yeah, I'm just gonna. Well, this same person got on the podcast and wore a shirt that said "Speak fucking English," and he was talking about how he was going to go to Brazil and call Paulo Filho a fucking Mexican after he beat him. I think I took the ambiguity about who that friend is. If you guys are listening right now, go ahead and go to our Facebook fan page and go ahead and like it for us.
Yeah,
and like it for us. We want to continue bringing awesome stories about Brad beating up people in barns and in the middle of the city and fucking girls in halo braces.
Oh, John, it's about time for me and you to go out again.
Oh my God! No, that's the problem. Like I'm literally afraid. Like so, Brad. New Orleans, man, I'm scared. I really am. Brad's the kind of guy, man. He's Morpheus standing in front of you holding two pills, and he said, "How far do you want to go down the rabbit hole?" That's what happens with Brad right there.
I never asked that question. I just send you down there.
Yeah, Brad's the kind of guy that, like, okay, you might be a Fortune 500 genius and you're making millions of dollars, and Brad will turn you into addict, crazy crackhead, who's, you're splitting your fucking tongue and you got gauged earrings all of a sudden because he somehow talked you in to hanging out with some wild ass bitch that fucking convinced you that that's the fucking way you should live your life.
It's called life experience, John. Go big or go home.
Fuck, man. Like I don't even understand Brad's life sometimes, man. I'm getting random text messages in the middle of the night from girls. Somehow I don't fucking get it. They're girls that are fighting over Brad in the fucking bars. Somehow they got my fucking number and they're like talking about leprechaun lesbian fucking three-ways. I swear that is a text message I got. I'm confused. I don't know who the fuck it is.
And then it turns around. Magic penis or something.
What's up?
I don't know what happens either. I don't control it. I don't claim to understand it. But you got to go with the flow sometimes.
He really, because I've been out with him many times and I've seen these girls fight over him, man. And it's a thing of fucking beauty, man. It's nice for the power to go back to the penis. You know, so much is gone. Like, we live in a society where the pussy is so powerful right now. And wait, isn't this show about MMA? The pussy is so fucking powerful, and normal dudes like us are just left in the wake of fucking told that we're fucking bad people, we're pieces of, we should be able to get away with it, and we should fucking stick it up our asses and deal with it and fucking pay the tab at the end of the night. And you know what I say to that? Bitches, you don't have fucking shit to offer us. We have free porn 24 fucking 7. I can fuck my hand. I have got a fleshlight. Well, I should get a fleshlight. Theoretically, I have a fleshlight.
You can buy
Enter the code name JoeRogan.com for 10% off. But have the fucking, we don't have the fucking power anymore. And the truth is, we got to take it back times, just like fucking, Lord Protector fucking Sean Connery told us on that interview that he had with fucking Barbara Walters. Sometimes when girls don't give you the last word, and then when you give them the last word and that's not enough for them and they want to push it, it's okay to fucking slap them in the face. Everybody needs to go home tonight.
Every fucking podcast we talk about hitting bitches. Every one of them. We have never had a podcast where we do not talk about somebody hitting a bitch.
That's what happens when a bunch of white guys get together. They just sit there and stew on how bad they get fucked. It's like, I'm sorry. My fucking ancestors were fucking pieces of shit that ruled the world and held it over people. I'm a normal fucking dude, man. I'm sitting in the fucking trenches with you taking shots the same fucking way. We're the fucking same, man. There ain't nobody fucking different out there. And I got to sit there and pay the tab for all those fucking assholes that came before me, I'm
Irish Indian. I catch shit about shit my people didn't do.
You're Irish Indian?
Yeah. I got very, very little Indian, lots of Irish.
Man, how do you walk so far with them fucking little legs?
Every step I have to take. So when I run 3 miles, it's usually like 6.
See, like, Dan doesn't miss a beat, man. He doesn't give a shit that I just made a reference to the Trail of Tears, although I wasn't very specific. Yeah. No, it's okay because I'm 137th. I'm 137th fucking Cherokee, like every other American is. So I can claim that shit. I'm fucking pulling the Johnny Depp now. I can fucking put a crow on my head and paint my face, and pretend to be a Native American. That movie deserved a bomb.
You know what? When I was a kid, I loved The Lone Ranger. I'm so pissed that movie sucks. But Tonto was the man. He was a little gay.
Johnny Depp got away with playing Tonto. That's more like fucking what was the guy from The Outsiders that played in Soul Man?
Oh, fucking C. Thomas Howell. Yeah. That was great, man. Back in the 80s, when a fucking white guy could come out there and fucking blackface, fuck a black woman, and no one really held it against him. Because it wasn't real blackface.
When blackface got bad, the guy from Cheers was the one that came out at the when he's fucking Whoopi Goldberg. What's his fucking name? Came out. He was fucking.
Oh yeah, God, fucking Ted Danson. They thought it would be funny if he showed up to an event in blackface, and I'm like, that was Whoopi's idea. She thought it was funny, and it was funny in a sense, but it would be something funny that everybody would sit around and talk about it, not necessarily something that you put into action.
Nothing Whoopi has ever done was funny, except her haircut.
What? Say it again.
I said nothing Whoopi has ever done was funny except her haircut.
Oh yeah, I maybe Jumpin' Jack Flash.
No.
Yeah, well, anytime you put Bobcat in the movie, you're gonna be all right.
There you go, man.
Bobcat is awesome.
It's a recipe for success.
She was good in our producer Matt Frazier's fucking saying she was good in Star Trek. Figures
you guys are a bunch of fucking dorks
on us.
We're dork. He talks about how big of a dork he is. I have 2 Superman tattoo cover-ups on me. I had them both covered up with tattoos.
You covered up the Superman?
I covered up both Superman.
Good, because Superman's a fucking fag.
That happens when you grow up. You cover up that shit.
That's, hey, why don't you come over to the fucking well-written side of the fucking spectrum in Marvel, man? That's the way.
Love me some Marvel. I don't like how Wolverine's so much taller now. I used to love Wolverine because he was 5 foot and nothing. And now he's like 6 foot.
Wait.
You need to come up with
up here and go get my nephews?
What's up?
Like books?
What's up?
I said, you guys want me and Ben to get out of here and we can get my nephews and you can talk comic books?
Well, who
Oh,
are their
that's
favorite
right.
guys?
The
Punisher
kids
fan
love
or what we
comic
got here?
books, man. It's like they're being raised right when they're down with Superman and Spider-Man.
Could be worse. It could be into Bieber.
They could be, honestly, like Ben. So you've raised a pretty tough kid. One of the kids who trains with me at the gym is Ben's son, Ethan. He actually shows up to class more than Ben does, but but he's training really hard. He's doing really good. What, he's 14 now, right?
He's going to be 15 next month. Yeah.
He's going to be 15 next month, so that's 14. So I wasn't wrong. Thank you for that. So yeah, he's kicking ass and taking names, so you can tell the quality of a father by based on your progeny. So it's one of our goals as parents to come out there and raise good kids, and you've done a great job. We got Ethan's out there fucking working his ass off, training really fucking hard. So
Ben's one of the few guys around that's still raising men.
He's still raising men. Back to what we were talking about earlier, man. It's okay, Johnny. It's okay if you finish fucking third place in the dodgeball tournament. Fuck you, Johnny. Why don't you fucking step your game up and fucking beat those kids down? Throw that fucking ball in that bitch's face. Stop balking because she's a cute girl and she cried last time you hit her in the face. You fucking hit her again because she'll learn some fucking respect that way.
Go back to a Spartan mentality.
The Spartan mentality. That's right. The Spartan mentality. If the bitch isn't around, you find a little boy, you push his legs together, and you fuck his thighs.
Oh, my God.
Wait. Hey, that's what we were going for.
That's not what I was going. You got me.
You know what they talk about, the sacred band of Spartans. You gotta, you want to see if guys are really close. It's not how much they fight together; it's how much they fuck together. Wow, I can see the look on Dan's face right now. He is pissed. He clearly wants to engage me in an argument.
I have a Spartan tattoo I covered my Superman with. So.
Oh, really? So you just went from a bad bigotry?
No. My Spartan is fucking straight, man. Straight as fuck.
Oh, so the only one.
The only one.
That's how you get guys to fight together. Fighting can only bring guys so close. When you get a bunch of men together, come on, I've seen Spartacus. I know that they all stand around naked and oil each other, and then do slow motion giant slashes and wrestle around.
It's not gay. That's not gay.
For
you rub me down a few times.
Uncircumcised penises. What's up with that?
So tell me, Johnny, have you seen a lot of Gladiator movies?
Have I seen a lot of Gladiator movies? I know I love Tony Curtis.
He was talking about fucking gay trannies with Filipino vaginas last week. So
okay, listen, Brad is a man of the world who's experienced things. Oh shit, we lost Brad again.
I don't know if we lost him.
Okay.
Wait for it. Okay. They go black here and there, and then they come back.
Oh my God, that was such a great thing to come back to.
I'm back. I figured, since you guys are so into comic books, I'd just get this over with.
I wasn't sure if it was a leather mask or a Batman mask. It's a little dark back there. I was like, what the fuck's going on?
No,
he doesn't have the ball yet. That is clearly a Batman mask.
John's got the zipper over the mouth.
Yeah, I know.
He adds it to him. He customizes his Batman masks.
Val Silver's got nothing on me.
So we've got Brad, back me up on this one right here. Okay, so last week I happened to have talked about Fox Fallon or Fallon Fox or whatever fucking name is his name. I would like to see the structure of her vagina before I make any statements about whether it's a man or a woman, because I have seen some Thai ladyboy weren't so good. It looked like a fucking tucked in hole. It looked like a giant belly button with fucking, pus and mucus flowing out of it. And everybody looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, hey, am I the only person that was curious about post-op trannies?
I was all on your side. What the fuck's going on?
Oh, I'm definitely curious, but beyond that, I'll fight it anytime it wants.
You'll fight.
I can fit in her clothes. I can punch her in the face. It's all right.
You know, she's too busy wanting to fight. You know, she's wanting to fight fucking females when she clearly has had 30 years of testosterone running through her body. I mean, you know, I would like to see, like, okay, so look at it like this. We'll count it like this, okay? How many loads have dudes dropped in her versus how many loads dudes are women? How many loads has she dropped in women? If that ratio changes to where she has been fucked by more men and more cum has been shot into her fake vagina than she has shot into women through her 30 years of life, then she can fight women and she can be a woman. I have fucking ruined this podcast. Oh my God.
If her clit is over 4 inches, she's a man.
Oh, see, now we're talking about Cyborg.
Well, what if their cock's under 4
Okay,
inches? Are they a female?
I'm not going to name names. But okay, so you guys remember the fighter Aaron Tohill?
Yeah, you said high. You didn't say high Phil, right? You said Tohill. Right?
Oh, Tohill, not Aaron
Highfill.
No,
I had to fucking throw
that
him
was
under the
Brad
bus
was
'cause
his
it's
original
funny.
coach. Brad was his original coach. Yeah, Brad helped build Aaron Highfill into the badass he is right now. We got to give
He's
Brad
fucking awesome. I love that kid.
Yeah, he's fucking good dude, man. I like Aaron. You know, when he's not fucked up on Saturday night, he makes it in the sun. It was funny. He sent a text message this last weekend that he's like, "Hey man, I'd be down there, but I'm in fucking random fucking city and I don't know where my car is."
That's a legitimate excuse. That happens to all of us.
Why would I not hang out with that kid? That's the shit that happens to me all the time.
Hey, listen, you know, that kind of thing happens when you go out and you have a good time.
Yeah, you know, he's 23 and I don't follow him against it. And man, anytime he wants to come down, I'm happy to help him get better and stuff like that. I love that kid.
It's a good tough kid, man.
So Aaron,
that is true.
So Aaron Tohill, you guys remember her? She was the it girl as a fighter because she was the first girl to dress up in MMA gloves and her fucking panties and shit like that. And post it on the internet. She's a bigger girl, was a pro boxer, pro MMA fighter, very good fighter, and very skillful. Well, my friend fucked her. And he told me that when he was fucking her, she actually grabbed his head, jammed it between her legs, and started rubbing her pussy. And he said it was confusing to him because he had never been so much dominated in a sexual relationship. Now, luckily, my buddy could fucking fight his ass off. And so by the end of it, he had actually, I think he had his dick in her mouth and he triangled her and was beating her while he was fucking her. And that's how she wanted it.
Dude, this is getting weird. I'm already in front of a fucking computer with my pants on. And this is awkward for me. So you're telling these stories, my pants are going to come down.
So what are you talking about? You saying you want to like slowly slide your that? Why do you think I took my video feed down so I could fucking take my pants off and fucking play with my dick while I talked about Aaron Tohill's pussy?
Say that slower, please.
Lick your lips.
Brad, please chime back in. Stop me from fucking ruining my future.
I think you're doing great, buddy. You just keep on going.
Dude, there like this is why I don't tell in parents about the podcast.
John makes awkward children's lessons down at the war room.
The funny thing is, I'm really dedicated as a teacher. I'm just really fucking focused on the shit that sucks in life, and I drink a little bit, and the next thing I know, I'm watching dog fart porn, and I'm going, hey. I like it when everybody talks about black dicks being so fucking big because when I pull out my white shaft and it's just as fucking big, girls are fucking surprised. And you don't want to overshoot it.
That's why I always aim for the nose.
So speaking of, you don't want people to know. Last week I had to train somebody that I had to train him 4 times. And it was a brand new chick, new to the gym. So she, one of the guys told her that I did MMA. So she Googled me and found the fucking podcast on YouTube.
Dan, you're married.
No. Wow, that wasn't what it was.
Come on, man. You're married, dude. You have children.
That's true. I've been married for a long time, so it's
see.
Okay,
Dan does Krav Maga too. If the fans don't know, he's actually started as a Krav Maga guy. So it's a lot about nut grabbing and things like that. And while he's teaching the intricacies of jiu-jitsu and Krav Maga, I could see there being a lot of when you grab the nuts, you need to slightly twist clockwise. Now, sometimes the guy's going to have an erection. That's okay. You just grab it and jerk it as hard as you can. This is one of his lesson plans.
You've had way more balls in your face than I have. You've been doing jiu-jitsu way fucking longer.
Oh, I know. Well, I'm the one on the podcast that said I was rolling with Eric Irving, and having him in North-South was like being pistol whipped.
Hold on, John. You obviously come from jiu-jitsu, don't know these kind of things that guys who grew up wrestling do. But in wrestling, there's an old saying that your dick is just a handle to flip you upside down with.
That was awesome.
I did judo, and that's a Japanese art, and the lack of phalluses in the Asian community, we're not used to that kind of that vulgar usage. Although like there was like a really for me when I took Brian Guidry down when I was age 17. I shot a single, and that motherfucker butt dragged the shit out of me, literally, and I screamed, and Berger was there, and I yelped. I went ah like that when he grabbed my asshole and drugged me and spun around and went to take my back. This is when we were kind of doing an in-school little, like, we were all fighting for supremacy. I had no business. Those guys going because I was good enough to bang with them. I shouldn't have used the word bang. I was good enough to fight with them, and Berger was there. And the next thing you know, him and Mike Rogers were sitting there making that same noise. I'm sorry, I had never had a full-grown man grab my 17-year-old ass and split my ass cheeks. I felt that little air that comes in when your asshole spreads.
You didn't. What did you say? Hold on. What did you say?
I said he knows he's got that weird.
I was gonna say
he had his little ass grab.
I was gonna say you never went to Catholic school then, huh?
I think they lost us or we lost them.
No, I heard you. I just checked Jesse Geringer's oil the other night when we were doing triangle escapes. I said I have my go-to if none other ones work, and I said watch me cheat. And I stuck my thumb in his ass, and he fucking screamed, fucking jumped around. I was like, it works. I don't like doing it. I don't feel comfortable doing it, but I feel straight as hell when he fucking screams like a little girl and runs away from me. And he hasn't looked me in the eye since the practice last week. I said what's up to him today, and he was like, "Hi."
He's lucky you use your finger.
Yeah. Oh, I got little thumbs. Look at that guy. That ain't that big. Calm down. Calm the fuck down. I only went knuckle deep.
Guy go into teaching Jewish self-defense.
Well, I was 215 pounds and fat as shit, and my dad was taking it because he was a cop, and told me the story about this Israeli guy that can take a gun away from a guy as fast as a rattlesnake can grab. I was bouncing in a bar and I called bullshit. I was a bouncer. That was my job. I called bullshit and I went in and got beat up by a girl. So, and I fell in love with fighting.
With the girl or fighting?
Fell in love. Well, she was a chubbier girl, so I'm into that. No,
well, I'll tell you what, if a girl can my ass.
Well, okay, now listen. Now I'm gonna.
Oh wait, see, we're back to me fucking Gabriel.
Let me get racist.
Gabby Garcia.
Let me get racist for a minute, as I do in every podcast. See, Sam is not the North American domesticated Jew. He's more of the wily Israeli Jew, where they've dealt with shit and they're not the fucking sandwich guys. He's the nuts bodybuilder. He was Mr. Israel and fucking Mr. Muay Thai, trained with Boss Rutan for years.
Yeah, this is Sam Sadeh. This is a guy who grew up hating and fighting the constant battle that the Israelites and the Palestinians and the Jordanians and that constant war-torn area. He grew up in that area. I'm not going to say Sam's a bad motherfucker. He actually had his first MMA fight for me. And I matched him up against a really fucking tough guy, and he just got clipped. Got clipped. I felt really bad. I wish I could have gotten him on again, and then got him with another guy that he, like I could have put him with anybody else, and he would have fucked him up. I just happened to have found from Ed Clay's school that these are the same people that developed Josh Shockman, who was a UFC veteran. a bunch of other really good, Ray Casillas, who ended up winning Pan Am's Masters, or I'm sorry, Pan Am Senior Division as a black belt. So these guys are, it's a very, very good MMA school, Ed Clay's school. Also he had.
Gets clipped.
And Sam was training with students, but
yeah, it wasn't, it kind of sucked because it didn't really showcase what Sam had, and Sam is a bad motherfucker, man. People
by the way,
die.
it's his birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, man! Happy birthday. He's the kind of guy who was not this fucking, hey, let's pretend to have war in the MMA situation. A real war situation where it's not the most important that you're the best at arm bars or punching. The fact that you have the ability to turn the fucking switch on, kick open that door, clear that fucking room, put your gun on somebody and fucking pull the trigger.
And going back to the earlier podcast, he actually trained with Boss Rutan when Mark Kerr was there. He trained with Mark Kerr and all those guys that we were talking about earlier. Sam started training crowd when he was like 30. I mean, I won't do a whole podcast about Sam when he's like 33. He's a very tough guy. Great fucking guy. I love him to death. He's a brother of mine. I lived with him in LA, and he pretty much brought me around all the gyms, let me meet Boss Rutan, hang out with Boss Rutan, train with Boss Rutan, and all the other fucking guys. So, but yeah, he got clipped back at the fucking right behind the ear, got clipped and got knocked out. So he's had a shit ton of Muay Thai fights before that, but that was the one where he got knocked out. Happens.
It does. I didn't want to.
No.
I don't want to diminish from what he is, but this is my experience with Sam, and I know that he's a good fighter. He's a tough guy and things like that. It was one of those unfortunate things that Team Vaghi had not become fully encompassing with MMA. We were still doing, Berger was still on the team, so we had not yet fully developed a true MMA gym like we have now with St. Charles MMA with Mike Rogers.
Yeah.
So, it's unfortunate that had we have had that at the time, Sam, I think, would have continued to train with us and be a part of. Unfortunately, we were still very, very gi oriented, and I wasn't down for that. I was with Steve all the way. Every fight Steve had before he left the team and then went on to do his own thing, I was there with that guy. When no one else was there, it was me and Dustin Sievers. Steve trained in my basement for Pete Spratt. I trained with him for 3 or 4 hours a day to help him get ready for that fight, which he fucking won, which I've said before. But
And I can't thank either one of those guys you just mentioned. They're probably the main reason I'm even fighting. Two of the main reasons I'm fighting was Sam, who my first day of sparring leg kicked me until I had to call off of work for 2 days because I could not walk. And I had no respect for a fucking leg kick until I got kicked by a 220-pound fucking ex-Muay Thai fighter until I could not walk. And I mean, go ahead.
I said that's an archery move right there. That the guys used to coach two police officers used to coach Muay Thai out of the war room. That was their game right there. They're like, hey, you want to learn Muay Thai? Okay, no problem. Let's see if you can actually train Muay Thai. And they did not have any issues telling people it, so much to the point where they actually conflicted with other about who they got into arguments with. But there was disagreement on technique, and he was like, okay, get in this fucking ring and show me. And that's what I love about the Muay Thai guys. They're not afraid to take a beating, to turn around and be like, hey, all right, let's fucking see.
Me and Sam used to get into. Go ahead.
Started training with the Autries. The wife and kids and I, we lived in Grafton, so it was probably half-hour, 45-minute drive war room. And I'll tell you what, man, there was plenty of nights after taking leg kicks from those guys where I'd have to pull over before I'd go to the house, man. I'd be like, what the fuck am I doing this for? And getting up and going to work, and carrying pipe wrenches and shit all day. And I'd be like, man, I could barely fucking move.
And these are, all I got to say is I give a shout out because these are two of the toughest Thai boxers you'll ever meet. They are literally like a little bit smaller versions of Mark Hunt.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're two police officers boxers?
Yeah, identical twins.
That's got. They've got. I got to see him arrest somebody from Grafton.
What's that?
Where are they from?
They're from South Roxana originally.
Yeah, one of them's a detective in Hazelwood, and one of them is a DEA task force agent in Pontoon.
No shit, Hazelwood, my old stomping ground.
Yeah, one of them's in Hazelwood, and one of them's in Pontoon.
Nice. My little brother's a cop in Florissant right now. I'm sure he knows the guy, and I'm sure he's gotten drunk and talked shit to him before, because that's what my little brother does. He just loves to talk shit.
I don't know. I won't name which Autry it was, but I know for sure that there was a time that like some guy was pulled over on, I believe it was on 270, and he had been threatening to kill himself. So, and I think he was trying to do like a suicide by cop deal, and he had it, and one of them came up to the window, and the guy pulled his finger out like bang bang, and I know which one it was, but I can't name him.
Well, we already know which one because you said 270. Go ahead.
He fucking blasted the guy and knocked him out cold.
These guys were both pit bulls.
You losing him, Dan?
I lost him. He said pit bulls, and I lost him. His face is moving.
Shit, man. The people out there, people are losing fucking gold right here. This shit's gold, and people are not getting it because of our fucking internet connection.
Lost him again. I know he's talking too. I can see it. Shit.
Okay, so I'll keep going. So
Ben, we need to hear a fucking a drunken shit story from you, because I can't be the only one talking about my daughter being racist and fucking drunken shit stories. So,
man, do you want?
Treasures? Yeah, we need to wrap it up soon. I knew he was gonna say it. One good shit story from you.
Okay, all right. I want to hear I'll tell one shit disturbing story that I did, and then I want to hear a special story from Brad about something that he talked about. Asked me if it was okay to talk about.
Nice.
Okay, so oh my God, Brad just came in and showed me his fucking ass. Hey, how
about
it's not the first time he showed his ass.
Let's close off the iPad and you guys all in the same fucking room talking.
Do you want to say, hey, Brad? Ah, fuck it. They went outside, man. We'll make it happen. Okay, so shit disturbing story by me. Okay, so what happened? Damn it. I don't know if I should tell the story. This is the story why I'm famous on the internet. I don't know if this is a good idea because it like if it got out, it would be an issue again, and I don't mind fighting the fucking guy.
Fucker, come on.
It kind of throws Raj under the bus a little bit.
Tell the story.
Well,
I threw my daughter under the bus. Fuck you. Come on.
Okay, well, I'm sure your 7-year-old daughter will recover from her fucking black-hating ways.
I don't know.
Trust me, the second she's 16 and old fucking Jamal shows up at your house to take her out, you'll fucking...
Her name is Michaela.
Her name is Michaela, and her new boyfriend's name is Jamal. You know you love it, sir.
Jamal's gonna be awfully scared of fucking Dan. I guarantee.
Yeah, I'm sure he will respect the shit out of you as a fighter. It's not gonna. It's not gonna. Hey man, just remember what you did to girls when you were 18.
Don't think about that. It's not the same.
No.
Think about it. It is the same.
Their dads were not professional fighters and knew how to break my arm.
Totally different. They deserved it.
Yeah.
They deserved it.
Those bitches were whores too. So
that's right. I was about
they were. Dorothy Mantooth is a saint. Okay, here's the famous story, the fucking James Benton famous story. Okay, so Wade, can you guys hear me still?
Yep.
Okay, so James Wade goes out and fights a fight where his opponent sat on the corner. I'm sorry, he was in a cage, so it sat on the fence, and he was defending. But James Wade threw 20 unanswered punches. So the referee, Mike Rogers, stepped in, and I should not be telling the story. Mike Rogers stepped in and and stop the fight. Well, this is an amateur fight at this time, although because it was the fucking, it was before unsanctioning, what shit was still unsanctioned and it was whatever. Obviously James Wade had already fought pro because he already fought Steve Berger pro. He'd already fought Steve Berger twice as a pro.
So Mike Green pro. Got
it. Right. Yeah, he's the Mike Green pro, right? He's the only guy that made his pro debut twice. So what happens is he's Miletich fighter, Joe Jordan. These guys are fucking laughing because they know the story. Joe Jordan protests and he said, "Hey, my guy was defending and whatever, but the truth is he was sitting there on the fence, he was defending. He was balling up, and the guy was, James Wade was throwing combinations on him. He kept throwing and throwing and throwing." So fast forward about 20 minutes, and we're in the back, and Mike Rogers is telling Wade, "Hey, good fight, blah blah blah, whatever," and that was the end of that. Joe Jordan walks up and says, "What the fuck? You guys are like in cahoots? What are you like? Was this one of your friends or whatever?" And Mike proceeds to say, "What the fuck are you talking about? He's like, hey, this is just I was congratulating him on the fight. That's all that happened right there." Joe's getting pissed off. If you don't know who Joe Jordan is, he's a pro from 205 all the way down to 135, if that tells you how far he's gone up and down. And he's fought in the UFC at 55 against Hermes Franca, was given Hermes a terrible fucking time until he gassed out a little bit. Hermes was able to combo up on him and it beat him in the third round. So he comes out and he's yelling at Mike Rogers saying, "Fuck you, you fix the fight. This is a bullshit stoppage, blah, 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 blah." And Mike's like, "Hey, calm down. It's not, it's an amateur fight. It's whatever." And, and Mike is kind of being smug with him and being like, "Hey, if you're going to be an arrogant prick, I'm going to be smug with you." I understand. I feel like that was the proper response. Meanwhile, back there, we've got, I actually think Lee Brusso might have been running around the back. To talk about a guy with a 12-inch dick running around in the back. Fucking Tyron Woodley was back there. Kiko France was back there. A bunch of other ATT guys were back there, and we're all standing around. And Mike comes in, and so he's like, "Hey," he's being a little smug, but not. Mike's just, he's a quick-witted guy, but not terribly quick-witted. He's just responding to the situation. And Joe Jordan continues to get mad and mad. And then he's like, "Hey, why are you acting like a fucking prick?" And Mike's like, "Because you're acting like a prick, man, And then Joe jumps back and goes, "Oh, I'm a prick, huh?" Only somebody from fucking Iowa could jump to that conclusion that you're like, "Oh, I'm a fucking prick." Dude, you just called another guy a prick. You were looking for a reason. And I sat there and I was mentally, in my mind, everybody else is standing around watching the whole fucking chicanery happen, and I'm sitting there going, "Mike, he's gonna hit you. He's gonna hit you." In my head, this guy jumps the fuck out and fucking hits Mike across the fucking jaw and stumbles him. He completely sucker punches Mike. Mike didn't have his hands up. His head was turned sideways. Mike's mouth was slightly open, so he popped a jaw right at the right angle to stumble Mike. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "Fuck!" Mike's partially recovered, but he's getting ready to jump in and grab the guy. The problem is Mike's feet are not underneath him. And I'm like, "Fuck, he's going to get hit. He's going to get hurt." So I'm going to run out and jump between the two of them. And because I'm like, I'm not going to let my boy get fucking dropped. I'm not going to let my boy get knocked the fuck out, So, even after he got sucker punched, and then that cocksucker Joe Jordan goes back and starts talking about how he knocked out Mike Rogers and shit like that. Fuck that shit. He sucker punched him and then turned around. So I'm like, "Fuck you. I'm going to get in between the two of them." So I get between the two of them, and this son of a bitch pulls his hands up like he's getting ready to hit me. I was going to run up and just grab him and be like, "Stop, stop, 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 stop." He pulls his fucking hands up. So what am I going to do? I fucking throw a punch, a right hand, I smash him in his fucking face, and then hit a switch knee. He drops his head down, I fucking switch kneed his fucking face, and then I picked him up and I started fucking strangling the fuck out of him with a guillotine. And of course, in pure Brazilian fucking ATT fashion, I hear these fucking Portuguese accents going, "Choke that motherfucker out! That fucking son of, choke that motherfucker out! And I'm like, okay, that sounds like a good idea. So I start fucking picking this fucking, I was probably about 217 pounds by the time I know exactly how I was. And I was 217 because when it got back to the internet, all of a sudden I was 265 and 6'11". But so I'm picking this son of a bitch off the fucking ground, choking the shit out of him in a guillotine choke. He's trying to fucking run a single leg on me, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, watch his fucking hands because he might pull a fucking knife out, because that's what piece of shit fucking white trash does. And that's all I thought he was. I didn't think he was a pro fighter. I didn't know he was fucking Joe Jordan from the UFC. I thought he was a piece of shit fucking white trash son of a bitch that would sucker punch an official because he didn't like the fucking decision. That's what I thought that scumbag was. Anyway, can you guys still hear me?
So James Wade beat a UFC fighter?
No, it wasn't.
Like
He fought one of Joe Jordan's students, man. Come on, fucking Dan. Keep up with the fucking
I'm
story.
sorry.
Man.
I was fucking talking on the other line, dude.
I'm fucking out here.
You're the one that decided to bring the tequila out, God damn it.
I am fucking out here trying to fucking do the Lord's work, and you're fucking me up. Anyway.
I'm gonna listen to this tomorrow. Relax.
So I'm fucking choking the shit out of this guy, and then he's trying to run a single on me. I'm thinking this white trash piece of shit might have a knife, so I'm watching his fucking hands, because that's what you got to do come a crowd background. You got to you know situational awareness, right? The Brazilians are going, choke the motherfucker out, so I'm right there with them, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna choke the motherfucker out. And then all of a sudden, Mike regains consciousness. Or I'm sorry, he wasn't completely out. He was just wobbled a little bit, like he was like, oh fuck, he was taken out of the situation. All of a sudden, he's back in the game and he's fucking mad. And all of a sudden, we have a 260-pound fucking 6'2", fucking 16-3 record pro fighter who is a fucking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion, a fucking finished an All-American wrestler, and a fucking Golden Gloves champion that is pissed off and is trying to get at the son of a bitch who's hanging onto my fucking leg right now, while I'm choking the fuck out of him.
Mike was 260 back then still?
Oh, yeah. At one point, Mike actually was down around 230. Mike Rogers at 240 is probably one of the scariest individuals that I've ever experienced in my life. Again, I was a little bit younger right then, so things were scarier when you're younger. Things are bigger, scarier as a kid. But that
dad's cock is always bigger when you're younger. You always think your dad has a huge cock is because you saw it when you were younger, and it fucking looked gigantic to you.
Listen, man, I don't know what you're talking about. My
Bullshit.
Dad did not do anything with his cock to me. I'm not sure what your dad did, but
you pissed off a bridge with your dad. God damn it, you pissed off a bridge.
It was not appropriate. Your dad should not have stuck his cock anywhere near you. Anyway, so Mike Rogers was fucking Michael Myers at 240, by the way. Anyway, now Michael Myers has now gotten up. He's done the sit-up. He's done the Kane pro wrestling sit-up, and he never went down. I'm just, fucking
the Michael Myers sit-up.
The Michael Myers sit-up, and now he's ready to fucking rip a hole in somebody's body. This motherfucker comes swinging on the side, and he's trying to hit Joe Jordan. I said, listen, man, I am a white man. I don't fucking jump people. That's that racism shit. Yeah, fuck you guys. And plenty of white, man, I've seen plenty of YouTube videos. White people jump people too. I was doing that just for comedic value. I assure you.
That was a racist joke. I'm not laughing. That was retarded.
Any, trust me, if any of you gentlemen out there that have interrace or women of other races, I will proudly date them. Okay. So
let them date your daughter.
So yeah, even I don't even care. My daughter, I don't mind if she dates a black man. I'm not a piece of shit like Dan is.
You have a daughter.
My mom dated a black man for 20 years. I got some flavor, I got a little bit of flavor. Anyway, so that's my qualification. My mom dated a black guy for 20 years, so I'm cool.
You're friends with white people too, right?
Yeah, I have some white friends. They're mostly black and Mexican. So anyway, this dude comes around the corner and he is trying to rip Joe Jordan in half, and I'm like, oh fuck, I need to keep myself between him. So I'm trying to circle my body and block Mike the fucking Beast Rogers from ripping this poor child. I don't care if he's a fucking UFC vet. He was about to become a fucking child. He was about to become a fucking, a fucking altar boy in a rapist priest fucking seminary because Mike was going to fuck some ass and it was going to be Joe Jordan's.
Rapist Priest
No
is a
more-
good name
no
for a
more.
band, by the way.
And yeah, that's be a beautiful name. So he comes in and I'm trying to swing around and block that. And I actually took the time to like actually block my body between Mike's. Now Mike did hit him in the ass a couple of times with punches. And I'll tell you what, I've been hit in the hip by Mike Rogers with a fucking punch before. I've seen him. I've seen him drop guys in Golden Gloves by hitting them in the fucking hip, and their leg wouldn't fucking work after that. And I'm like, I didn't know that was a legal fucking target area. It didn't matter. Fucking Mike just killed him already. What are you gonna fucking do? Call the end of the fight. So this son of a bitch is trying to fucking take me down. Finally, he puts his hand up to block the fucking guillotine choke. I grab his hip, fucking whip him over, do a whip over. I got knee on belly, and I'm holding him down. And he's fucking crying. He's crying for Robbie Lawler. He's crying from fucking Jason Reinhardt, and he's like crying. He's like, help me, like that. And I'm like, listen, dude, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm trying to protect you from the demon seed of fucking Mike Rogers is trying to stomp your goddamn head in right now. Okay, we want some video on this. All right, I give you a little video. All right, so Mike Rogers is getting ready to stomp this motherfucker, and it looks like a fucking, it looks like American History X. He's getting ready to fucking stomp this kid, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, let's fucking hold on to these guys. And so I got knee on belly, and I'm holding down. I'm like, I'm shaking the guy. And I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking hurt you. And that's like, because at this time, I still think he's a normal dude. I don't think he's Mr. UFC. At this point, the cops come fucking barrel assing through. His face is all bloody because 2 shots from me is like, yeah, he'll talk forever. Fuck you. Who's that from, Ben or Brad? Fuck you guys. So his face is all blood mess, and the cops come in, and he's screaming. He's like, blah blah blah, motherfucker, blah blah blah, this and that. And so the cops think they got to control him. So I pick him up, and I go, here, officers, I've got him. Like real emphatically, like I was the one who saved the day here. And I hand him over to the cops. The cops grab him and start to get ready to arrest him. And Mike Rogers looks at me and goes, what are you doing? Get the fuck out of here. And I didn't know. I never ran from the cops before. So I fucking take off running. I disappear out of there. I didn't get to see the rest of the fucking show. But
you ran from the cops before at 17?
Man, dude, I am fucking white from a middle class family. How dare you? I'm not. Where are you from?
I got kicked out of the best private schools. No, I lived everywhere, but I've been kicked out of I ran from the cops all the time. It's always fun.
You ran from the cops all the time?
Yeah, my dad's a cop. My dad told me to run from the cops. He's like, don't get a fucking arrested.
I'm sorry, officer. I'm sorry, officer. And then they fucking throw me in the cuffs and beat the shit out of me. I'm that dumbass.
I've had that happen too.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, I'm the guy that thinks that people are out there to actually protect my rights and not fucking, fucking hide drugs on me or treat me like shit or not uphold my rights. That's what do I know?
My family are all cops, and they always told me run from the cops. No.
Absolutely.
I can't say that truthfully.
And they don't trust you.
So anyway, this gets back to the internets, and it blew up. They're like, what's this fucking story? Who's this fucking guy? And they started referring to me as...
Hold on. How long ago was this?
Oh, this was 2007. While
was
I was
dial-up? Okay, no, it wasn't dial-up. Okay.
Hey, that was back when John was the Steven Seagal of Anderson Silva's camp.
I was a Steven Seagal. I would front kick the shit out of a motherfucker. And yeah, it was an MMA Genesis. Like the Lord Protect Zod, our producer, had asked if it was an MMA Genesis show. I bet he fucking Googled the shit and found some fucking old threads where all these dudes were talking shit about how they would fight. And I said, listen, man, fucking Jermaine and Andre said that we can have a fucking street fight in his gym, in his cage. Let's fucking do it right now. I'm not fucking waiting for a fucking... I've got finals because I'm not a fucking retard that has to clean up fucking engineer, for God's sake. I will fucking kick your fucking ass and fucking go back and study for finals. Anyway, there was a bunch of shit talking and nothing ever came of it because he knew. I mean, we had 2.5 minutes in a street fight, a 2.5 minute fucking street fight where we were full on fighting the whole time, where it was just me and him. I fucking kicked his ass. Fucking deal with it, dude. Get over it. It's not a fucking big deal. If he kicked my ass, I would be like, oh, That would be my response, but I'm not a fucking faggot, so I could
What
take my
UFC
ass
event's
from like a
coming
man.
up?
Oh, shut
Hmm?
up. This is good. Hey, don't listen to him. He's trying to change the subject. This shit's getting interesting.
We're supposed to hear a damn story from you.
Hey, Brad. Okay, we totally don't have a segue for this. Brad wants to tell the Jesse Finney story.
Oh, yeah, this is kind of fun.
Do we have a segue? I'm fighting a Jesse Finney guy, and Jesse Finney is a big fan of mine. He has Dan O'Connor, Johnny Irish shirts. This banner back here, he has at his house, laying above his bed. He's a huge fan of mine.
I love Jesse. Jesse's a good guy. We have a
He's
good
a good guy.
work.
He has a great gym, and we
great-
love him. But we're
Phenomenal.
gonna bust him out on this funny shit right here because this is a great story.
Jesse's a great guy. I love him to death. I have so many T-shirts of his.
So Jesse,
I've been to all his fights.
Get
it was Jesse, but we're all backstage
Fuck
at Strike Force. I was cornering Scott Vinamillion, and we're all seeing the doctor pre-fight. And Jesse comes over to Scott after seeing the doctor and goes, "Hey, do you have your shower gear?" And he says, "Yeah, I got it. Why, man? You haven't even fought yet." And Jesse goes, "Oh, I got a spray-on tan today, and they won't let me fight with it." And Autry looks at me and goes, "Did he just say he has a fucking spray-on tan?" And I just looked at him and go, "Oh, yeah." And he goes, "Faggot." Shower before he went out and fought. Of course, at the same time, he came out to Culture Club that night.
That's kind of the Culture Club. Do you really want to hurt me? Is that what the one? Oh, fuck.
By the way, rest in peace, Sean Tompkins. You were a great man.
Yes. Sean Tompkins was a great guy. Oh, we lost Benton.
And I love Jesse, but that's some funny shit. Who does a spray on tan in the big fight course?
You know what?
He had a tip.
And here's something I wanted to bring up, actually, when I was talking about the Kim Porter thing. I'm fighting Kim Porter. He has a lot more to lose than I do for this fight because he is fighting for Jesse. Jesse Finney's gym is supposed to be there's more money in that gym. It's supposed to be the better fucking gym than Burgers. We fucking train in a basement. It's nasty. It smells like ass. I know I'm talking the shit out of my gym. The upstairs, beautiful. If you want to go up there and do some Zumba, some great gym, nice, clean. Downstairs, we call it the dungeon. It's nasty as fuck. Ken Porter has way more to lose for that fight because Jesse Finney's gym really is the best gym. Smell and light and everything wise. More facilities to use. Great gym. He has go ahead.
It's an absolute beautiful facility. But let's be real here. You expect, if not, we wouldn't be fucking talking about you fighting. You're a fighter. When you go into a fight, you expect to win this thing.
Absolutely. And I want him to be cocky. I want him to think he's going to walk through me. I've never been an underdog in any of my fights except for when I was street fighting and being a punk kid. But I really want to be a fucking underdog because I'm a Rocky kid. I'm a Rocky fucking kid. So Rocky was the underdog no matter what. He was a world champion of the world. He was an underdog. So I want him to be cocky. I want him to overthink this fight. I want him to not train as hard as he should. So he's training Jesse Finney's gym. He has Ezra Lennon. So what?
Ezra's a stud. Ezra's an absolute stud. But the bottom line is,
Ezra's an absolute stud.
Fight, you're gonna be all right.
Yeah. But let's be honest. We both know that half of the fucking fighters in the communities don't use their fucking jiu-jitsu coaches the way that they should. Absolutely. You know, they don't want to sit there and go to class and fucking follow format. They want to be fucking there and be treated like, oh, you're the special one. Come to this MMA class only. Fuck you. Put on your fucking no-gi shit and go to your fucking class. You know, go to your fucking class. Learn from Ezra Lennon, who's a fucking genius. You know. What's up?
Brusso.
Well, Lee's fucking good though. You know, Lee's good, man.
To train jiu-jitsu with you. What are you talking about? Lee's tough, but he needs to get with you.
He's training with me once before, man. Give him a chance to work himself back in. I have full faith that Lee will be an avid attender of classes when we get ready for his fight.
First, it goes right in.
Yeah, Lee's retirement fight is coming up in November. It's going to be his last fight, possibly. I'll tell you what, man. He does his fucking camp with me, I'll guarantee he fucking wins that son of a bitch.
That's what I'm saying. Get in there room with John Minky.
You know what, Minky? I don't know. Would it ruin our dichotomy if I train with you one day?
Hey, you're
I don't know.
welcome.
Do you want to get your ass kicked?
Minky, come on. I'm a MMA fighter, jiu-jitsu guy. I'm going to whoop your ass. You know how it goes.
Oh, that's right. Actually, I'm gonna fucking hold your little ass down, and I'm gonna kiss your fucking cheek while I fucking wrestle you.
Is it okay if I get a hard on during you doing that?
He's throwing on leg
Only
locks.
if you want to get jacked off.
Ooh. Left hand, right hand. I want to know
See,
which.
we have completely fucking derailed at this point. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, Dan, you know, man, anytime, anything I can do, and you know, I mean, you know, all
Minky,
joking
I'm probably
aside,
the only goddamn motherfucker in St. Louis that is outside your gym that knows you're actually legitimate and you're awesome. I've had to argue
outside
for
of
you
my
so
gym,
many.
man, fuck you, man, dude. Outside of fucking St. Louis, I'm fucking well fucking respected. Anybody who
On
doesn't
the
know my fucking
underground, you're
name
awesome.
doesn't
Okay.
know their ass from their elbow. They're not. If you don't know fucking the name of John Minky, you aren't even fucking good enough to enter this fucking conversation. But yeah, Dan, and man, if you, dude, honestly, if you want to work on some stuff, or if you need somebody to hold mitts, or if you need somebody to fucking, you know, you want to do some work on some stuff, dude, I always got time for you, man. Like, all joking aside, I mean, we're having some fun and shit like that. But
Look,
you know, dude, I always got time for you. You're fucking badass.
Yeah.
I want to know this this backdoor escape I keep hearing about that they say that I don't know. I want to know it. I want to know what the fuck
That
it
was
is.
Dan,
just some dumb bullshit. I mean, that's just like, you know, that's like option 3 on Mountascapes that I do with people, and it just happened to do with you know, Eric and Alex really gravitated. Alex White and Eric Irving really gravitated towards that in particular escape. So they got pretty good at it, and it's not like a big deal. It's, you know, it's non-escape.
Now, do you got arms? Do you got moves for guys with like short arms like T-Rex? I got little bitty fucking arms. They're not long. I got short
Dude,
legs. I got a long cock, short legs, short arms. It's freaky. It looks longer than it is. 8 inches
Hey,
look 14 on my little leg.
Let me chime in real quick and give a little praise to John Minky. He's one of the few men I've seen that's a big man who has small man jiu-jitsu. The
Nice.
he's a very technical man, and even at his size, and he moves great for a big man. He's got small man jiu-jitsu. He's not just working big man stuff.
Yeah,
and earlier, anytime you want to come to the War Room, Dan, you're welcome, man.
Deal. I'm in. Maybe we'll go drinking afterwards. I got like a week left until I can't drink.
Oh my God, dude, Dan, please don't, dude. Please do not go out drinking with these guys. It's fucking dangerous.
What the fuck are you talking about? Are you coming with?
Oh my God, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm fucking. There's no way I am gonna. That's fucking Superman Prime versus Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet right there. I'm not fucking handling that shit.
Recapping, Matt Fraser's freaking out. He's like, dude, I gotta work in the morning. It's midnight. We're at 2 hours and 41 minutes. What's going on here?
All right, guys, let's just finish this up. All right,
love this
everybody.
Podcast. It was fun. It was awesome.
For sitting
We're
through
not
this
going to
bullshit.
sign off with that one more shot.
One more shot?
I'll sign off with that one more shot. Hold on, John. We're going to bring you yours.
Oh, man. Fucking Patron, too. See, Kim breaks out the good shit. See, that's why you got to hang out with us, Dan, man. They're all about the good shit.
Hey, listen, you're an Irish boy who likes tequila. We're going to get along real well.
Oh, yeah. I'm a tequila kind of soul.
You know what? We're going to have a lot of fun together.
Deal.
My buddy Ben here, who's been sober for 8 years. He's going to keep us out of trouble when we get too drunk.
Oh, we got a designated driver. I love this. Let me refill this a little bit so we can all do a shot together.
All right. Let's get this shot. All right, guys. For the St. Louis community out there.
Wait. Got cork.
Wherever your racial your racial biases land, you know, salute, and I hope you enjoy this podcast.
Ready? Bang.
Salute.